Of importance to millions of people who are continually pale and washed out, weak and run down. Doctors will tell you that these conditions are often caused by a deficiency of iron. The iron you need to keep you physically fit and mentally alert. Medical studies show that 2 out of 3 women and many, many men lack the daily iron your body requires in a form your body can easily use and put to work. Every dose gives you more than your daily minimum iron requirement.
We are awake, we are not alone. We are striving for more.
So if you're not getting the iron your body needs, if you feel weak, run down, and are easily upset, start taking iron today.
Thank God it's Friday.
It's Friday, my dudes.
And happy Friday to you all. Welcome to Have No Sphere right here on the Iron Rail Media YouTube channel. No, because that's the channel that we're not allowed to live stream from. So welcome to the Iron Rail Media Podcast YouTube channel, where we are backing up all of our live streams. We've got a really, really interesting show for you today. This is going to be one that I think that it's going to be a really, really interesting show. I've been trying to make it happen for a little bit, but I don't know. Let's just first jump in and say hello to the folks. We're going to start with Mrs. Cammie Nodell, just because I miss the hell out of Cammie throughout the week. Cammie, how are you, my dear?
Oh, I'm doing good. Been a busy week, and I can't believe it's Friday already. I've taken what I happen to do a lot, unplugging from social media and enjoying what's around me and taking note and interacting with people. And so I will be back on a lot of people on messages I haven't gotten back to, but it's just the way I roll. It's too pretty to be plugged in right now, and I am enjoying the springtime.
It's always a good idea to unplug whenever you can. If and when you can.
If and when, and I think it's really important to make time for it. So I highly recommend it to all. Facebook can always wait a day, and it'll be there when you get back.
Probably. You never can tell. So let's say hello to Mr. Walter Johnson. You might know him as Flat Earth Head here on YouTube. Walter, how are you, my good sir?
I am wonderful. It is Friday, my dudes. We made it. We did it. They didn't wash me away, even though they seriously tried. Lost electricity at least twice. So if I do disappear, which it has cleared up this afternoon, so hopefully that, knock on laminate, is not going to be the case. But yeah, if I do disappear suddenly, I didn't storm out of here mad. I just had a little meltdown. So, but yeah, Friday, ready for it. We have a very, and dude, kudos on that show title. Love that.
Did you like that?
So I'm excited. Yeah, let's introduce the rest of them.
Yes, let's. And I can't really take much of any credit at all for that show title, because there's really nothing there that's mine. But let's say hello to Mr. Zachary.
Well, then we'll get to that, right?
Yeah, we will definitely have to get into that. Let's say hello to Mr. Zachary Zabala. You might know him as Too Nice for Rice, or perhaps the Nomad. Or you might just know him as Good Times for All here on YouTube. Zach, how are you, sir?
Hey, Josh. Hey, everybody. How's it going? Yeah, not a bad day. Cleared out the river behind the neighbor's house
The whole river?
for Miss Lillian. Yeah, it's like a 40, maybe 45-degree angle hill, and her new lawnmower, people won't do it. And I understand why. I tried to do a little bit of lawn mowing back there with the mower. Yeah, right. No way. They have moles and stuff like that, so it was just like little trenches everywhere and big rocks everywhere. So I just weed whacked the whole thing. But yeah, it looks so much nicer. So
Okay.
it feels good. I love, putting a little bit of pretty on nature. I didn't have to kill any plants. I just trimmed them a little bit.
Yeah. Nature always
Yeah.
making shit so ugly. Good thing you're there, Zach, to make it pretty.
Yeah.
No, he tended it. He tended it for
was-
them, so they had a view for the river and the different things. If not, they'd totally lose this. This is love. He gave the land love, and the people. Again, Miss Lillian, it's something very special what he does. Miss Lillian really appreciates it. It makes her world and makes her happy.
Well, that's
Yeah, they're
good.
good neighbors.
They're good neighbors.
Excellent. So Lucas is not here with us this evening. He is doing his catering to market thing. So
Oh no, he's not. He's in our chat. He's listening.
So he's playing hooky, is what you're saying.
He's playing hooky. He's definitely Friday night hooky. Like it's Friday night. We're gonna laugh at you instead of with you. Lucas, if you want to get on the show.
well, I was really hoping he's going to be here because both guests, I think, will generate a lot of interesting conversations. Right. So about, what was it, 8 years ago, 2013, I guess is what I remember having read last night. Facebook was not the Facebook that we all know today, as you can imagine, because of updates and whatever. But I was on there and ran across this post, and it had been titled Friend Bomb. And basically what you would do is you would like the post, and then just underneath, just comment like add me. And then anybody who was on that friend bomb would just go through and add all the people that said add me, or add all the people that had liked the post or whatever. So you just had thousands and thousands of people. And you do that 4 or 5 times, and you just have all these like-minded people just totally fucking up Facebook's algorithms. I'm pretty sure that they had to change Facebook because of these friend bombs that were going on. I'm convinced, whether it's friend limits or just the algorithms in which you were allowed to interact with other people, I think those friend bombs made a massive impact on what Facebook is and was. But during one of those friend bombs, I mean, literally, I'd get hundreds a day back in 2013. Hundreds of friend requests. And I would send out hundreds. But one of them was this fella named Grunk. And I didn't even realize until yesterday that Grunk and I had been friends since 2013, since these friend bombs that had been going on. I had just sort of, well, I knew he was in my newsfeed. I assumed we were friends, but 8 years, I don't know when the world we became friends. But I see him, he's working on pedals for his guitar. He's working on loops. He's making music. He's doing all sorts of really cool stuff. And on our end, we got Walt working on his pedals and trying to make his music, and Lucas doing his thing with his music. And there's just a whole lot of synchronicities going on. So I thought, wow, it'd be really cool if we could get Grunk on here. So we hemmed and we hawed and we cussed it and discussed it, and nothing really ever came of it until Wednesday when we figured out we didn't really have anybody. I said, well, screw it. I'm just going to invite him on. So if you guys get a chance, check out the show description. His YouTube channel is called terrestrialmack. If you're over there on Facebook, you might know him as Grunk Mac. How would you prefer we call you Mac? Grunk? Terrestrial?
You know, my real name is Terry. But I grew up like at home as TJ. So I've always had different names everywhere I go. So, I mean, nothing, it don't bother me. I don't really care.
Well, it's interesting because you said you'd recently started another YouTube channel for like the mud floods.
Probably December. I don't know. Something like that.
Well, when I saw it and saw the title of it, for some reason, I just assumed your name was Terry. You just, for some reason you want to put you were uncommon or, whatever. I'm like,
I was trying to go for like uncommon Terry or something like that. And I don't know how that was what I settled on, but
I like it. It took me a couple minutes. It really did. It's got that little Easter egg in there. I'm like, oh, not a commentary, but a commentary. I like it.
And it's kind of funny because I don't reveal myself in any of the videos either. So, yeah, I haven't done myself any favors by having so many different names. I think that it makes it a million times harder for people to follow me around. And plus, like my YouTube channel, I spelled with weird characters, so it's even harder to find. But
nope,
Grunk was an organic nickname, and that was just why I used that initially. Terrestrial is just a play on my first name because I figured I'm of Earth, I'm from Earth. Why not?
Why not? I dig it. I really do. And I spent pretty much all day at work today jamming out to the banjo show. I really dig it. That's good stuff.
I haven't done that in a while, but
like he just goes out on his lunch break at work and sits in his car and picks. It's brilliant. I really dig it.
That was back when I had a job.
Awesome.
Back when you had a job. What'd you say, Zach?
I said that's awesome. That's a great idea. I never took my guitar to work. I was always scared someone was going to steal it.
It's funny too because I drive a smart car, so like it's me in this tiny car. So I tend to use small instruments because they fit.
Now, see, I even saw that, and I had to ask myself, this big, hairy, burly guy, is he really cramming himself into this tiny little car?
I took that to the solar return too, 600 miles.
So how do you like that thing? I see him on the roads on occasion and just laugh because.
Right. Of course. No, I always see old people driving it pretty much. Like, I'm probably the youngest person that owns one. I just it worked out in a way that my grandparents had it and they weren't driving anymore. And my car I had this old Escort and the clutch just went out. So I just kind of inherited it. It was just there. So, but what I said was, I'm not too cool to drive that at all. I'm exactly cool enough to drive that.
How do you like it though?
It's a 3-cylinder, 1000 cc. It's awesome. I get when I was running at a decent speed on the way down to South Carolina, I was getting like 45 miles a gallon. So
with the wind to your back.
I was going to say, with a good breeze behind you, probably. Right.
Yeah, it's like that sometimes.
Well, there's a whole lot of stuff that I really want to get into, but we've got another guest just sitting here. And I think that if we just include everybody, this is really going to work out well. And again, I wish Lucas were able to come and actually join us here this evening. But Zach, I think I'm going to have to let you take this one.
Hey, just in all fairness, Lucas is driving at the time, so that is part of it.
It's a piss poor excuse. I don't want to hear it. No, so Zach, why don't you go ahead and introduce this next guest since you've got the most experience?
Yeah, this next guest has his own YouTube channel here, and it's called the PAT Podcast, PAT Life Podcast. Yeah, that's it. His name is Patrick Daly. Really, really cool guy. You can tell he's a truth seeker, and when you listen to him speak, you're going to hear he's just very genuine, and he's got a good heart, a good soul. You can you can hear it in the stuff he says. We had some great conversations. Lucas and I at first, and then Patrick and I had one. But his name is Patrick Daly, and he's we need to welcome him to the community. and get on over to his channel, PAT Life Podcast, capital P dot capital A dot capital T dot Life Podcast. And yeah, let's get him some more subs so he can.
I have dropped it in the chat there,
All right,
and I
awesome.
will drop it and spam it as we continue.
But Patrick, welcome, brother. It's good having you.
Thanks for having me, guys. As Zach was saying, I am just trying to figure out, like everyone else, this place we live and the potential that we all have. In what I do is working with people in their fitness journeys. That's my career. It started asking more questions than answers, and it has led me to a lot of these conversations that I hear you all having, and seeing how it's more relevant than we are told. So it's just an honor to be a part of this. As I said, before we came on, just being an observer, as I have listened to Lucas for a long time, and then obviously speaking with him and getting more information, then talking with Zach. It's just you guys are a wealth of knowledge, and I just love how curious you guys all are, and that's led you down your paths. So to be able to learn from you, kind of shoot the, I don't know if you guys say bad words, but shoot the breeze, I guess. I'm excited.
Whatever you'd like, my friend. You shoot it.
No filter here, though. No filter Fridays.
Shoot as you will.
Well, yeah, man. So I just, what's is interesting is all these things that you do speak of. I always try to think of being that we're in a world where a lot of people are not willing to hear a lot of things that we're saying because they're very materialistic, whether told and programmed or just they don't want to hear some of these truths. I just try to take what we learned and what we're talking about and saying, okay, well, how does this apply to the body? How does this apply to the material? So that way people can at least start to see these correlations that you guys are speaking about all the time. And I've actually started to, by implementing these, really starting to get people more curious as to, okay, well, where are you getting this information? Where are you going for this? And as I start to explain this to people, specific my clients and friends, family, people start going, wait, what? So it's not so much about like, oh, geez, here's another one of these guys. It's now becoming more of, oh, you're actually making sense to me because this is now in my body. This is now in something that I can comprehend to some degree. So it's a beautiful thing. And obviously it's created some trials and tribulations, but hey, man, that's the beauty of life. Especially when you're onto something. If people are getting pissed and they haven't looked into it, you're like, I am definitely onto something.
Mm-hmm. Growth hurts. It does. It doesn't matter what's growing. Whatever's growing, it hurts. That's part of life.
But it's the beauty when you kind of come through the hardships. You start to meet new people and start to gain so much more knowledge and wisdom. So for that, I'm appreciative. Thank you, guys.
So aside from being an abbreviated version of your first name, your YouTube channel is PAT, which appears to be an acronym.
Yeah.
What's the acronym for?
Yeah, sorry. PAT, it's an acronym for present awareness training. Being that with my job, I'm trying to constantly help people be in the present moment. That we're so, through my 10 years of personal training, what you see is people are constantly in their heads, looking in the past, just living in, oh, I should have done this, my job, and then the future. So we get a lot of people that aren't actually in the moment, and then they don't understand their body. They don't understand the as I've said before, the potential of self. So it's constantly using this world of helping others, myself included, be present, really be appreciative of this moment, have that gratitude. And through the podcast, just trying to get that word out and people who, basically embody that. So real quick story, and I don't want to keep going, but I wasn't even going to do a podcast in regards to having my own. It just fell on my lap. I was speaking with my friend, Tom Barnett. I reached out to him just being like, hey, man, I would love to talk or hear your input. And he was like, yeah, I'll do a podcast. So I was like, oh, shit. Okay, we're doing a podcast. So from there, it just spawned. And I think talking about being present, that was a moment where it was just like realizing, okay, you have an opportunity. You don't know how to do it. You've never done it, but let's do it. Let's have some fun. And for that, it's, led me to meeting so many people and really just opening my eyes to more stuff, and I'm, so that's what the Pat life. It's really Pat, but just being present.
I got a question for you, Patrick. You don't have to answer it.
Oh, you're good.
Have you tried to burst a cloud yet?
No, I have not.
Right.
I don't have like that. Well, it's not that I don't have the time, but whenever I've tried to look at the clouds, my son's usually starting to run towards the street, or the dog is taking a dump. So it's like I can't be too. So my attention is put in different directions.
Other places that focus needs to be, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But it has definitely been something I've been trying to do minutes at a time. So
awesome.
Yeah, but I will get back to you once that happens. You'll be getting some sort of message being like, dude, I think I just burst like 3 clouds. And I'm pissed. So
awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. No, to hear both Lucas and Zach, 2 men whose opinion I highly respect, sing your praises so highly, Pat, that it really says a lot, I think, about you, because I respect their judgment and their assessment of a man's character. So I was excited to be able to get you on. Thanks for coming to hang out with us tonight. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that, and I appreciate them. So thank you guys. And if I have to split early, obviously I'm gonna have to run, but I'm gonna enjoy every bit I can.
You know what? You come and go as you please. There's really so laid back here.
Absolutely. If you do have to jump away and finally settle things down again, come right on back in. Same legal work every time.
I definitely will. I'm going to be holding that to you guys.
Awesome.
So, Pat, the song I was listening to when we jumped into the podcast tonight was John Hyatt's Through Your Hands. And there's lyrics in that song that say, quote, yeah, we scheme about the future and we dream about the past when just a simple reaching out might build a bridge that lasts. I thought just what you said, it was funny that I was listening to it right before you said it. A beautiful song, by the way, Through Your Hands, John Hyatt.
I'm going to look that up. I love it.
That's good stuff. I still don't know what the hell's going on with my sound. It's still not right. I thought when I first came on, I thought it sounded good. Like I thought I was going to be okay. But within 10 minutes, it's back to sounding like garbage again. So I don't know what the fuck to do.
Sound fine in my head, if that helps.
A little. It does. All right. So, TJ. I have a friend, TJ, so that may be what I end up calling you, if you don't mind.
Simple.
What were you doing in 2013 that made you decide to click on that friend bomb?
Oh, 2013. Let's see. I think 2012. I was doing some dumb shit and got myself in trouble. So I think probably a lot of that had to do with kind of, I feel stupid saying this because everybody says this, but, being stuck at home and kind of having nothing else to do, that you have time to look at weird shit on the internet, for lack of a better way to put it. And just that I was always kind of conspiratorial, or at least didn't really have trust in authority and shit like that. So, to connect with more people like that on Facebook, like I was really into.
Sorry, I'm listening. My dogs are going crazy in the background. I'm just trying to wake them out.
No, I was going to say too, talking about like synchronicities and all this lining up. Also weird that it was right around like solar return. I wasn't quite sure if I was going to be able to go or not, but then I could. So, and that we had just had that happen. Then you say about this week, like what the lyrics came, he was just saying about, I've just had a friend from, again, 7 or 8 years ago reach out that I haven't talked to her in a long time. And I just connected with her this week. So like this whole week has been things just lining up that are ridiculous.
It's always such a crazy
I love synchronicities. Love synchronicities. So what you said, conspiratorial was your thing already before the truth bomb. So, I mean, you're a younger guy than me. I'm an old fucker. Growing up, I had access to some things that exposed me to things, mostly my family and the upbringing I had. And I don't want to get into my story. We can share it later. I want to hear yours. But like, what was your first big what? There's something weird going on in the world. It's not just what I see. There's more. What's going on? So what was it? What was your first inkling that there's more going on?
I feel like I've just always not trusted stuff. I don't really know how to say it, or something just didn't make sense to me all the time. Talking about like I managed to meet up with some of the Facebook friend bomb people, and we were going around doing that, talking about how we woke up and stuff. And I was like, I don't know. I always remember just, and then like when somebody would bring up an alternative idea, I'm like, that sounds way more interesting than, I don't know. I've just always been kind of alternative. I don't know what to say really. Like I remember, well, we'll probably get into it then, but go on.
Yeah, no, that's what I want to hear, man, for sure. I mean, for me, it was definitely, as you say, just always there. I was born into a family where, grandma would have the people visit as they passed the night they passed, and the next day she would tell us they were gone before all the phone calls would start coming, that kind of thing. Lots of encounters, lots of ghosts and apparitions, and the whole 9 yards. So I grew up in that, and then the 70s. I mean, there was In Search of, dude. We had Spock looking for Bigfoot. What? You can't. What better shit to watch? So yeah, it was kind of not only born into it, but kind of pushed in the media a bit, and then just loved it. Anything out there, little tugs, little threads to pull on, I was there. I mean, I can remember being into the Kennedy thing before like the movie and all that came out, from this weird NBC special when I was probably like 6 or 5 or something, that I watched at my grandma's that was weird and scary. So it made me interested. So yeah, that whole idea of just always looking outside the norm. I know what you mean.
And it's funny too, at least I think it seems weird for me being into so many kind of, weird things. I've never had any like paranormal or any experiences like that. Which I don't know if that's abnormal or not, but
apparently not. A buddy of ours that's used to here with us, John.
I never have.
Never had. And I was going to point to you next, Zach. And our buddy Zach right there says he doesn't have.
Well, I've seen a shadow thing when I was young, and I don't know exactly. It freaked me out to where I pulled my covers up over my head. And then I asked my cousin about it the next day. I was staying over at his house. And I asked him, I was like, hey, have you ever seen a shadow come out of your closet? And he said, I don't want to talk about it. Don't talk about it again. So that was like my one experience of something weird like that. But no, I've never seen a UFO or a ghost or, nothing like that.
I remember one thing. My dad used to have this shelf of like, beer steins. He used to like collect those. And it was one night, I don't know, we were sleeping and something happened where one of these, and it doesn't even make sense. It's a sliding glass door. One of these like rolled and fell out of the cabinet onto the floor, which is kind of weird on its own. But then come to like the next day that my dad was saying about this here, that particular day was his deceased stepbrother's birthday, and that particular cup was one that was his. So that was a little odd.
Yeah, that's a little odd. Yeah, I don't think I've really had any paranormal experiences to speak of. Some with the Ouija board, but again, it's a Ouija board, so who knows what it's really doing, how that shit really works.
I've never had anything scary. I have had when people have passed. I've had, especially around my son, and that electronic toys and that go off. Nothing that feels threatening. It felt like, again, you get the phone call 20 minutes later or whatever that the person has passed. And I remember at one time, like when my son was like 18 months, he was like, it was Nana, or, Mama, the name that she was using for her or whatever that he saw her. So it was amazing. But I've seen lights in the sky, but nothing, no alien abductions or nothing that gave me any type of feeling of anything but good energy. Like I've seen orbs in that around my son's room, and again, they seem attracted to the light. Maybe I'm just looking for the good or
Orbs
whatever
are
it
a big
is.
one. Yeah,
Orbs are very
are a big
cool.
one in the
Hmm.
family growing up. I didn't think about the orbs. Yeah, those were always around. It seemed like coming up and down hallways or going through the yard or
In the infrared
coming down the
photography
dark
spectrum,
road, down the
yeah.
dark dirt roads that we all live down. Like, what the hell's that coming? That's not a car, that kind of thing.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
I have a like a security camera on our back door, and I've caught some weird orb kind of stuff on that more than once.
I think those are getting caught a lot more now. I mean, obviously, everybody's walking around with a freaking camera in their hand, strapped to their head,
You gotta
whatever.
watch
So,
those
yeah, I've
security
seen a
cameras
lot of
though.
crazy footage with those orbs. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Zach.
The orbs, I've a lot of times it'll be dew collecting on a spider web.
Oh,
I
I've
actually
seen
went out
explanations.
and checked it, and I was like, "Oh, that's what it is! Damn it!" Because I saw this thing and it was like hovering, and then it moved because the dew might have went down the web or something, and I was like, "No way!" And I ran out there to go look, and there was nothing there. And then I went and checked the camera, and I saw that a spider had put a web right in front of it, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I see what that was."
That is so cool. That really is so cool. And I think a lot of them are aberrations and reflections and things like that. But occasionally it's like I look for that and look, is there light that can be reflecting? Is it dust particles that the infrared is picking up? And usually it's infrared that you can really see them in. So again, if you pop up some dust and everything, you're going to maybe pop up something that looks orb-like, but there's something different. There's something very different. And again, they seem to photograph mostly
Yeah,
in
I've seen some
infrared.
videos that are just like, okay, if that wasn't doctored or something,
Right,
what the hell was that?
right.
You
And that's how
know? Yeah.
and that's been kind of on seeing them, and it's not threatening, and it's not even on capture. It's something that, like, wow, that's really beautiful, or that's amazing. I don't have any of the energetic back and forth. Other than sometimes like, wow, that's really pretty. So I don't have any scaredness or anything attached to it or any bad attachments to it.
Never with the orbs, never, especially the bright ones in real life. Now, the ones we're talking about on the film, I've seen both, unexplainable ones, videos, not personal, leading up to last year when we finally installed one of those. I don't remember the name anyway now, the brand, whatever, it's out there. Everybody has one on their doorway for the camera, and it's a doorbell, and they can see the person that's ringing it. Well, we set that up next to Mom's bed so that when we were out of the room, she could say something to the camera and get our attention. Or as things progressed, we could watch her and make sure she wasn't getting up and falling, which had happened a few times before we installed that. So watching her on that camera while she slept and watching these light balls that would come into the room from the ceiling area and go to her. And they would be like just streaming into the room. Yeah, I'm getting chills right now telling you about it. It was pretty eerie. And other times I would see weird little floaty things and kind of glance and I'd be in the room too, and I could shine a phone light and catch the dust particle between me and the camera lens and see what was causing what I was seeing. So I experienced both in that room for sure. Anyway, it was, definitely more going on with those coming down from the ceiling. And especially when she would be in those places that were talking, to people that weren't there, things like that. Lots of that going on while that was all happening. But yeah, not to bring everybody down. It was awesome and amazing and beautiful. Sorry, I didn't mean to get to a downer place.
No, that's
No,
I'm
it was. It
doing.
was a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. It truly, truly was.
So, Terry, you married? You got kids? I ask annoyingly.
Nope. Very single.
Very, very single.
It made me think of this too when he was saying that. It's kind of I don't want to say anxiety, that seems too strong, but just have a weird thing about like recording myself so much and making videos and streaming and watching it back that like if I might catch something weird on video, but that's never happened either. every now and then there's a sound that I don't know, I can't account for, but I make a lot.
I know
of
some of those videos that are out there on YouTube where the guy's just whatever in his room, but here comes the dark thing through the window passing and stuff. Yeah, those really don't.
Yeah, I would hate to look back and realize there was something next to me the whole time.
Yes, sir. Or the face swap and there's nothing behind them. Those things. It's like, what the hell? Yeah, those are eerie as hell. Sorry, I keep having to call.
I don't even want to think about stuff like that.
I've been having a lot of allergy issues, so if I cough on you guys, I apologize. I'm trying to. It's gonna happen.
I don't know why, but I've been listening to scary stories lately on YouTube, just audio, like short stories, and in like 90% of them, it's all just you could tell it was made up. But those 10% that it's like could have happened.
Oh, these are supposed to be true stories?
Well, some of them are, some of them aren't. It depends on who you listen to. Some of them are like the missing 411 stories. Some guy wrote all these books about all the missing people that go missing every year in like national parks and this and that.
David Pilates, by the way, is the name of the author. David Pilates is a guy that wrote a book called Missing 411 about all the missing people that go missing in the national parks.
Okay, yeah, that's it. Well, yeah, people covered a lot of those stories. And, yeah, because I spent a lot of time in a lot of these national parks. And it's like, thank God I had Hank with me. Who would have known what would have happened? Dogs are awesome. The best security system you can get. It's portable. All you got to do is feed it and let it poop and pee somewhere, pretty much, you know? It's awesome. Yeah, but best security system ever. People don't mess with people that have dogs. I was listening to one guy, he was interviewing some serial killer, and he was like, yeah, I was going to kill this couple, but they had a dog at their house. So I moved on to the next people. Yeah, it makes you think, you know? I'm going to have a dog forever.
What about the serial killers that only kill people with dogs?
Yeah, screw those people.
I was going to go kill him, but they didn't have a dog, so I moved
They
on
didn't
to the
have a
next
dog,
house.
though.
So, Terry, you play ukulele, guitar, banjo. What else? There's a list. I saw a list somewhere. I think I've got it in the show description.
Guitar, banjo, ukulele. I have a baritone ukulele, tenor guitar. I got.
Time out. What's a tenor guitar?
Tenor guitar it's a 4-string guitar. That's slightly, I think it's a slightly shorter scale than a regular guitar, and it's
because I know baritone guitars.
It's a 4-string and it's tuned. I think they're tuned to G. I forget. Well, I mean, you could tune it however you want, but it's tuned in fifths, so it's like a mandolin, like the chord.
So it has weird chords, right? It's not.
Yeah. And then I had a from the same company, Eastwood. They make a tenor baritone, which is a baritone version of a tenor guitar. And I just sold that, but this is one that like I built out of just a short scale bass. But so it's basically an electric cello. Body? It's a knockoff. It's a K.
Yeah, it's definitely. K. Oh, I had a K growing up, brother. Fuck yeah. It was not a bass.
I like those. I like the weird one-offs better than big name brands, honestly.
Awesome. But K. You took me back with that one. I love it.
Anything.
I see a Dean to your left. I see a Dean. Know that headstock well. Looks like it's taking a blow. Acoustic. Oh, it's an acoustic. Holy shit. That's awesome. Oh, that's fucking amazing. Not expecting that. That's awesome. Yeah, I got to play some catch up on your channel, friend, for damn sure. I love it.
And then, I can noodle around on the mandolin. Anything with strings, I can usually find my way around eventually.
So
I can't think of it.
Now, were you self-taught?
Oh, I'm sorry, Zach.
Yeah. So back when I think I started playing when I was like somewhere like 11, 12, 13.
Wow.
And back then Yeah, at this point, actually, I've been playing longer than not, so that's kind of cool. But
That is awesome.
they used to have, when you had like Comcast On Demand, there was guitar lessons on there.
I
And
remember.
a lot of songs I learned from there because it, show it to you real slow. That was kind of before YouTube and stuff, I think, or before it was real popular. But other than that, tabs, I used to have like a folder of all the tabs I printed out, and I spent a lot of my like high school years just sitting in my room learning Sabbath and Pantera.
Was Guitar for the
stuff.
Practicing Musician magazine still around when you started in on your guitar learning?
Which one?
Guitar for the Practicing Musician. It was exclusively designed for tab. Some books have a tab or 5, tab or 3. It was it was a tab book. They had a few articles, in it, but it was mostly just tab. It was a guitar heaven, late 80s, early 90s.
No, I remember I got Guitar Player and
Yeah.
I forget what the other one is. There's another one.
There was another one that had a lot
World.
of tab. Guitar World's always good. But yeah, Guitar for the Practicing Musician. If you go find back issues, which I don't even know, they might be collectible and all that crap now. I'm sure they are. But yeah, some amazing finds there. Just great stuff. But man, I have to know banjo. 5-string?
I play a tenor banjo, which is a 4-string.
Oh, that's even more bizarre. Holy shit.
So
okay.
It's just the 5 strings have the drone string at the top.
That weird string. That
which is it goes halfway. That's a G.
Yep,
the tenor is just that without that. So
okay.
To me, it was just
technique because I can't do it. I have not. I cannot chicken pick. I can't do it. I can't do any of the stuff.
I'm iffy on finger picking, but my dad wanted to learn the banjo, so he got like a 5-string, and he was actually learning claw hammer, but like he spent time to do it, and like I could do it if I wanted to sit there and learn it, but it's easier for me to just go with how I know how to do it.
A good buddy of mine's dad out on the reservation here, he was the chief of the tribe. When he would pick up his banjo and start playing, he could bring tears to your eyes, or he could make you just laugh and cut up. He was amazing with it. And that's where I found the short string and went, oh, this is not for me. What does that do? No, Nick, I can't do it, sir. Sorry. Thank you for trying.
I can't
I was
carry
way
a tune
young,
in a bucket.
Sorry, Josh.
I can't carry a tune in a bucket. I don't play one single instrument. Patrick, how about you? You play anything?
I do play guitar.
Nice.
So it's, I'm nowhere near these guys' level, but, I've been playing for a while. I do, more so in the sense of, I've learned self-taught as well in the sense of just looking at people, like terrestrialmack, and just looking online and seeing people really embodying the ability to go like, I can do this. And I think for me, being the present awareness type mentality is when I looked at it as a kid, a teenager, being like, every single person who I admire and I listen to has learned things on the same exact thing for the most part. Now, why can't I do it? Right.
That's an awesome way to take off with it. That's great.
So for me, that was a really cool stepping stone because no one in my family plays music. No one's really sings. So I just realized I was like, well, let me take the journey. So doing similar things like tabs and learning songs that but taking it to that next level where you just like do. Like I'm not there. But it's one of those things where it's like until I put my energy to it, I know I can do it. But it's I just haven't committed fully in that, just with many other things that I do. But no, I love playing music. I love listening to music. I just like to let the creativity flow through, and just see what comes from it. And that's what's so fun to watch when you see performers that are just in it and just present, and that they're not here with you. They're in that world with that guitar or whatever instrument they're playing. And for me, that's been so like mesmerizing because you're like, they are embodying that frequency right now. They are that frequency. And so when you're watching just them not, because when you see people playing, they're looking at their fingers, right? They want to know where everything is. But when they're not, you're just like, whew, go on. And you feel yourself getting drawn into it.
It almost brings tears to my eyes when they get to that place. And I love sharing that with other people. That especially for that first time when I get to show somebody something like, "Have you seen this guy do whatever?"
Mm-hmm.
And then you see that dawning on them when they're like stunned by it, and that just brings tears to my eyes sometimes.
Yeah.
So I love that, dude. That's great.
Yeah,
Here's one for you. You may
Yeah.
know him already. John Gum.
Oh yeah.
Passion Flower, dude.
Passion
That
Flower,
one
yeah.
is like, oh, I love to share
So
that with folks.
it's
It's like,
it's funny that you say that. So I'm on the East Coast, but I at one point was in this New York City before all this craziness. But I had roommates, and we all instruments or all musicians to some degree or another. And what we would do is we would sit in the dark and play like John Grom or different types of musicians, and just sometimes there was recreational things. I don't do that anymore, but
sometimes you have to.
it was one of those things where it really just made me appreciate the music so much more and the people who played, because when you're quietly sitting there and just trying to embody whatever is coming out of the speakers, you just, like you said, the waves of emotion start coming out, and you're like looking, you're like, I'm not even actually high today. Didn't do anything. Why is this happening? Right. And you realize truly the power of music when you take all your other senses out, well, to some degree, and you just let your just listen. So
before I had even discovered recreational extracurriculars as a young kid, that was my favorite, because as soon as I discovered headphones and put those on the first time in front of the stereo at, like whatever age that would have been, 6, 5, that was it. I was in another place. I could go away into those worlds and laying on like just a bed in the dark with whatever, anything, pick it, a soundtrack from like Good, the Bad, the Ugly, or some old Walt Whitman album, or whatever, just anything that I would be around with my grandparents or my uncle and them, just
Totally.
lost in it, old stuff, crazy stuff. And that, like you said, that was pre any kind of adding, and then adding that to it made it a whole different experience. So yeah.
Well, it was interesting, and I don't know about you, everyone else, but like before I was actually playing guitar, and even like I never sang. I was so afraid to sing. Like I had this fear, this irrational fear, which is something you get over. I also have worked in acting. I'm a filmmaker as well, so I've created tons. So I'm really in that creative world, and I do that a lot. I'm currently doing stuff now, but it was one of those things where I was having songs come to me that I didn't know how to carry a tune, but it was just literally coming into my frequency or my field, and I was like, what am I like? What is this? So I was writing songs down before I ever picked up an instrument, ever knew what a G was or an E. I was just like, I know this band, this song. So when I started having these, I'm like, now I need to figure out how to actually put this with some instrument of some kind. So it was funny because I'd be like, the roommates I had at the time, they'd be like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm writing a song. They're like, do you even play music? I'm like, nah, haven't touched it. They're like, and so, it was one of those things where I'd be like, what do you think about this song? And, being young and having a girlfriend at the time, they're like, cool, but don't sing it to me because that's weird. And I was like, no, but you get the essence of it. They're like, no, I got it. There's a lot of love coming out of you right now. I was like, well, job's done here. So
that is so incredible that you were tapping into that musical creativity with no instrument in your life at that point, to the point that it was making these ladies uncomfortable. That's how much you would.
Oh no, this was a dude that I was trying to sing to and get some pointers. I'm like, you got any notes for me, man? He's like, nah, just don't.
Oh, okay. Don't sing to me. I thought it was, I got you.
Yeah, and he's like, don't sing that to me again, please.
That was awesome.
That's interesting too, because I've always had that happen. I had this happen to me where if I'm doing something and walking, I get melodies in my head to the rhythm of whatever I'm doing. And, eventually got to the point that I can figure out what I'm thinking, actually on the instrument, which is I don't know. I think that's kind of mind blowing that you can take something from that doesn't really even exist and then make it. It's just bizarre.
Well, that's, oh, go on.
I was going to say the song that I wrote, the rhythm of it, actually, the way I sing it goes to a bucket machine running at 7 speed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like, ding, ding.
So I got out of high school, 86. Started working on a land rig with my uncle's company, the company that all my uncles worked for. And as I would work those rig runs and oil those machines and listen to the rhythms of the drum, of the thing turning, or the mud buckets, I would think, wow, that's a crazy beat that's going on there. 85, 86. If only I taken that idea and went with it. I could have been Trent Reznor or Lane Jorgensen from Ministry, because that's what they did. They made industrial music, and that's what the hell it was. So yeah, I had that idea early on, just didn't snag it. Damn it.
Just say it's interesting too, with Patrick, with the awareness and stuff, because I feel like I'm one of those people that lives in my head like all the time, almost to the point that it's like an issue. You know, sometimes I don't do something because I just think about it for 3 hours. But
Right.
When I went, like, it probably was 2013, 2014, I would spend a lot of time just like out in my garage learning songs or writing songs. But yeah, I would be so gone that like suddenly I'd realize, oh, it's night. Like I'm sitting here in the dark. I've just been writing and playing the whole time.
Dude.
And even when I do like my live streams, my looping and stuff, like sometimes I'm like, how long has it been? I've been gone this whole time. It's really weird. It's hard to explain to anybody if you don't do it.
Well, dude, it goes just to show you that, you know, and maybe you guys can all chime in just how time is it is relative to to the person, right? And
totally malleable.
People say, oh, we have all the same hours in the same day, but if you're someone who really is embodied with what you're doing, like 3 hours, as you said, 4 or 5 hours can pass. I mean, same experiences, even with writing. Like I said, I've written feature films. I've pitched to like different networks. I've gone through that whole process. So it's something that I'm very passionate about. So there'd be times where I'd have an idea that would just come into my field, and I'd just sit with the idea for a sec and let almost kind of like not a movie, but like obviously it's a movie, but I would let whatever was coming in come in, and then just kind of almost try to display it in my, I don't know how to explain it. Like it would come in, and then I try to see what it would look like in front of me, and then putting the pieces together like a puzzle. It's weird. I don't know how to describe it, but
it's not weird. It does bring the point of something we talked about on the show, or maybe a morning show recently, of the idea that some people have visual internal displays like you're talking about, and some people do not have that, and that's something I can't even conceive of, because mine is like Technicolor, it's 3D and all that. So for the fact that some people don't have that, and that you're using it so well, sorry, it just came to mind because we talked about it recently. Go ahead.
No, thank you. That's good to know that there's actually a thing that, and it's not me being like, did I like walk by somebody who's like smoking some shit and
right? No, yeah,
running on it. But what was interesting is one particular film that I wrote. I spent 4 days, and I wrote the entire thing in 4 days, and it was one of those moments where I realized I was like, something that usually takes me, when I'm really going in, a couple months sometimes, depending. I was like, the fact that getting a first draft and having this whole outline, it just, mind you, it took then 28 drafts to get it to its final product to be ready to pitch. But the sense of knowing you're seeing an entire arc of story, character, all these things. I mean, that for me was one of those moments that was so profound, where it wasn't like, oh, I wrote it in 4 days. It was like, how did I actually be in 4 days of that much of focus and attention? Almost looking at myself like objectively, like looking outside of myself. And that was one of those things where I was like, that was something else happening, and I don't know how to describe it. And this was before I was on this journey of truth and really tapping into a lot of things that you guys talk about. But yeah, man, dude, the power of creativity is
so that's something too that's I've been wondering about, is the idea of this, like it just, as you're talking about it, and even as TJ's talking about it a bit, it seems like an organic thing that came to you guys more than, like, I was again born into a family that was musical, literally playing piano at the house, church, all that. So it was part of life, music, stereos, headphones, all that. It was just part of it. So to have these things just come to you almost out of the ether is just like, it's mind blowing. Truly, it's like, wow, just the idea of writing a song without an instrument, and the idea of this creativity from not even having the skill set yet. I don't know how to explain what I'm talking to. It's really mind blower. It really is.
You talk about people like embodying it when they play too. I had a friend who does kind of like I can't even think of the word now, but kind of like spirit guide and like Reiki and that kind of shit. But I talked to her one time. She was saying about how I was kind of getting her to do a reading on me, and something about how like I'm almost like channeling when I play music.
That's what I'm thinking.
And she put that in my idea in my head. I was like, whoa, like now it makes sense, because I always, like, if I'm covering a song, what I usually, like, I'll learn it and then I have to just play it to death so that it's like second nature to singing it. You know, I can do it without thinking about singing it or playing it. But I've never knew how to explain this to anyone. And it's not like if I try to sing it and try to sound like that, then I'm going to sound like me trying to sound like that. But what I have to do is just be it, like just do it. And then I don't know how to explain it.
Let it go.
But it's just, you just put it like, I don't, it's weird, but it's not the same if, I don't know how to explain it. It's not the same if I'm like struggling and trying to do it. You just sit back and do it.
Man, well, I unfortunately have to run, and this is getting so good.
I know, Patrick, man, it's great. You have to come back, friend. Please come hang out.
But dude, I appreciate you guys having me on. Hopefully we can talk more about this at another time. But thank you guys.
Yes, sir. You're welcome back.
It's great to meet you, man. I subbed.
Dude, I will be hitting up all of yours as well here soon. Thank you again, and I hope you enjoy your days. And I'm looking forward to listening to the rest of this when it's done. So.
Thanks, Pat, man. Really, truly, thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Take care, Patrick. Thank you so much, Patrick Daly,
man.
PAT Life Podcast.
Oh, nice to meet you, Patrick.
Thank you, guys.
That is good stuff.
So, no, wait. I don't want to lose where we are, where you're at, TJ. Don't lose the thread. Because I've lost it, damn it. Catch me back up. Channeling. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, the channeling. That's where we were. Okay, so I struggle with, and me and Lucas have talked about this a lot off the air. My struggle is, I have, let me see how to explain this. I can sing. I can play guitar. I can do those things together, okay. Creating my thing. I can sit and noodle for hours. I can come up with amazing riffs. Me and a friend and his brother used to have a little jam session all the time. His brother played bass. He played drums. I was on my guitar. There's cassettes of us where we would lock into these places and just create things that were astounding, like timing changes that were just no calling out, just happening on the fly. Perfect.
Same.
It was just happening. But when we would sit down and try to write a song or try to make that happen, it just ain't happening. And that's the same with me. When I'm singing a song from someone whose music I love and appreciate, dude, I can put my whole soul and body into it and make some good things happen with lots of people. I've had some.
That's how I was playing the harmonica.
But writing a song is
it's so easy to just play the harmonica.
You just can float with it.
But when you try to recreate what you just did, my buddy's like, dude, do that again.
It came from somewhere else.
Yeah, I was like, dude, I was just messing around. I don't know what I did.
I've got
mastering the harmonica is so hard. But just a child can jam one,
right?
When they channel it.
I have like this other project too that was just with like all my friends, because we would really be into just playing weird music. And I mean like where it's almost down to just like rhythms and has less to do with what the notes are, just real like clashing, just sort of, but just like you said, there's just like time changes and stuff that are totally off the cuff. And perfect. Like because for years we would hang out and be like, why didn't we record that? And then so like finally we started doing it. And
always record. Always record.
Definitely. But then see, I do that too, record a bunch of stuff, and then it's like, man, I ain't going through all this.
Well, seriously, I've probably got a terabyte now, not that much, but I've got a shit ton of little folders, ideas, song riffs, lyrics, whatever. But to put it into a place where it suddenly becomes a thing where it touches me like those other things have touched me, I just have never had that happen. And dude, Lucas has thrown tunes at us that have just blown my circuits. And it's like, dude, show me what the fuck you're doing. How do you get to that place? And I come up with tunes walking down the road while I'm, literally doing the dishes. I'll sing a song about washing the dishes, but it's not a song. It's just me fucking around. And
how about dreams? Did you ever wake up with like part of a song in your head that's not real and
then can't figure out how to make it happen? Like, where do I put this? Let's try to hum it in
crazy.
The tape recorder. I mean, on the phone, try to whistle it. It's not coming. And then after a few minutes, it's gone. Hell yeah. Oh, yeah.
Totally gone.
Yeah.
I sing to Hank and Minion all day.
Right. And I bet those are amazing songs if you would catch them and somehow, I mean, the kids always joked about the pancakes song that I would sing, and it was always something different while I would be making breakfast. So just silly shit. And it's like, those aren't really songs. They are, I guess, but it's not something I would be able to like get to a place where like,
yeah,
singing a Journey song makes me feel or whatever.
No, I feel like I'm I don't know, like I know what you're saying, that like when I sing my own songs, I don't feel as like I can let go as much as when I'm, playing a song I've heard or played thousands of times. But there is a handful of mine that I have down to like, reflexive action sort of. But yeah, I don't know. I feel that way too.
And it's that whole thing of like you were saying earlier about that losing yourself in it and like letting go. I mean, even when I was always the guy in the choir. I was always in the background playing the instrument or doing some backup vocals. In my little high school band, there was like maybe 2 songs I had the nerve finally to get up front and attempt to sing. And, it turned out okay, but just the nervousness couldn't get past it. But then later on, literally later, like this last in the 2000s, hearing some people destroying a song one day. We were at a casino and eating at the little restaurant. I could hear this song being destroyed over there. And I'm like, oh, what are they doing? Let me go over there and see. And it turned out to be some friends I knew from when I was a dealer at that casino that were running a karaoke show. And I'm like, what are you doing here, buddy? And he was like, get up here and sing a song. I'm like, oh, no, after what I heard that guy do, I can't get up there. He's like, no, get up there because that was terrible. Get up there. I know you can sing. I'm like, no, man. He talked me into it, a couple drinks, whatever. And I guess I just hit the right place, right notes, whatever. And that feeling I got when I would play stuff happened. And it was like, I like this. And so I started doing that. And dude, it got to a place where I would just get gone in those songs, especially if it was a song I grew up with, like, and knew by heart. And I could just not even need the word, lyrics or whatever. I was in that song. I don't know. It's just different. I can't make that happen with my music. Just can't do it.
Yeah, singing was secondary for me too. I was playing for a while, and then I started playing with a drummer. So we had like a little 2-piece thing going, and it started to be just like, what are we waiting for somebody to come sing, or like we might as well just sing? Like, we know the songs. So, or plenty of songs I learned that's like I'm humming along while I'm doing it. I might as well sing. So, and then I'm generally kind of a quiet, reserved person. So like, it's really far out for people who have never seen anything like that from me when I'm just like letting loose. It doesn't compute for them.
That was a lot of what happened when I started doing this too, because the people that knew me had never, they'd seen me playing the guitar. They'd never heard me sing. They didn't know I did all that. And growing up in the choir and all that, they didn't know all that. So, and that was different anyway. But then suddenly there I am, even doing like the local little contests and all this kind of crap, and getting second place, not bad here and there, but it was like definitely they were just like, holy shit, how come you haven't been doing this forever? I'm like, because I was chicken shit and I couldn't get up there. That's why, so yeah.
Singing, and at least I've heard most people say like singing in front of like friends and family is the worst. Like if it's total strangers, you can just kind of blow it off, but man,
oh yeah, at Christmas and the room, like everybody starts doing karaoke with the whatever sits on YouTube or whatever. I'm like, and they're like, get up there, we know you can sing. I'm like, yeah, but singing for a room full of drunk fuckers in a dark room is a little different than singing here in the middle of this living room for you people.
That's half the reason I don't really try to like play out or do open mics. I don't want to play for drunk people. And,
it helps sometimes.
You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. It's not my idea of a good time.
It was always my least favorite thing to do because where we discovered the karaoke at that casino, it was a big enough, open enough place so that the smoke and things, and in certain areas there wasn't even smoking allowed. So it was kind of just in that little actual bar area where the karaoke was going on. But then after I got into it, and the guy who was actually running the karaoke and I got to be really good friends again, which we hadn't seen each other in years. And there was a time when like we were literally following him, and he had a little group that would go with him that were all really good singers, different varieties and genres, but they covered a lot more of the country and Cajun where I'm at here and things like that. So I was their rock and roll guy. I would show up and they were like, "Yeah, well, it's here to do some rock and roll." So it was like cool. I would do that shit 6 days a week, some weeks. It was nuts how we got into it. We really got into it. But it was the group, it was the friends, it was the the camaraderie. It was great to have that little karaoke crew with the K, KREWE.
Well, it was after I started playing, obviously, but sometime I was a teenager. We went upstate with a work friend of my dad's up to Driftwood, Pennsylvania. This town has a population of like 65. I mean, I
love the name though. That's awesome.
Like a bar and a church, and that's it, And actually, that's what this guy's cabin was, an old church. So that was just like almost weird. But
that would be weird.
There was an old guy up there, and his name was Junior. And he was like in his 80s, and I got to play with him, and he was just an old like CGD, like straight cowboy chord picking kind of stuff, and I was new then to it, but it was cool. I got to play with him because it wasn't long after that I heard he died. There's a couple other people I'm really like, old people like that I'm glad I got to play with just because it's cool,
Oh, well, that was like me talking about Nick there on the reservation, Chief Nick. His son and I, Roger and I, had grown up together. Really good friend, kind of into some stuff as a youngster, like digging the other kind of stuff. Like he grew up watching the same In Search ofs and things I did, but I don't know. Later on, he turned into a pretty sheeple type dude, unfortunately. But anyway, his dad was like that. He was just like an amazing guitar. He was a luthier. Like he made some of the instruments that he played, and having played with him, as sad as I had not been playing long enough to be in front of that dude playing, but I jammed with him, and I'm glad now I can tell people I jammed with Chief Nick. Definitely. He was something else.
My buddy, his dad was an awesome singer, and he loved doing like Crosby, Stills and Nash, Neil Young, stuff like that. He had just the perfect voice for it. But he lost his ring finger on his left hand, but he pretty much learned how to play all these songs anyway with like 2 fingers. His first 2 fingers, his pinky finger didn't move much either. It got hit and got like nerve damage or whatever, but he pretty much learned how to play all these songs and just hit the chords, just certain. It wasn't exact, but it sounded like the song, and he just loved singing it. But yeah,
sometimes those people will use like alternate tunings too, just they can just bar off the chords and stuff.
Yeah,
you guys know
then there's
Daniel
Django
Johnston?
Oh yeah, the guy with the shovel guitar and stuff. Is that him?
No. He was it's like late 80s, early 90s. I remember.
Oh, I'm sorry. Who am I thinking of?
Daniel. I know who you mean. His name is something Johnston, I think. Yeah. No, Daniel Johnston was like I can't think what that album was called. There was a Kurt Cobain wearing a Daniel Johnston shirt, so it was around that time.
No, that's ringing a bell.
It's it's really weird music, and he was somebody with like real mental problems, and later on in his life, like he can barely play or sing, but like
wasn't there a documentary about him or something?
Probably. It's so like pure that it's just, I think it's interesting for someone who like is kind of actually insane to hear.
Right. That's him. Makes. That's it. And what he does is not music, but it's amazing. And it's weird and it touches you and then it freaks you out. And oh yeah, I remember that. Because when you said Kurt being in that, I remember that.
It's some like weird little doodle or something.
Just music itself, as far as like looking for weirdness like that, dude, I love having some stuff that I can pull out of the like distant past and show someone they haven't ever heard. I like to pull those out. So that's one I'm going to.
You're a little younger. Have you ever heard of Ween?
Oh, I love Ween.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm old. I like Ween.
I love Ween.
And you know, Femmes?
I have a
You know
limited.
Violent Femmes?
I mean, I'm aware of the name. I have a limited knowledge of their songs and stuff, but no,
Yeah.
Ween was definitely a band that, like, twice in my life, somebody had tried to turn me on to Ween, and I just kind of didn't, you know. But then, like, I organically came to it and was just like, why the hell didn't anybody ever tell me? But, like, you know, they tried to. But yeah, man, Ween. One thing I love about any artist is when, like, all their music's different. Like, you can put on one Ween album and all the songs are different. I love that.
It's like
and I
the
like
Beatles'
that.
Sgt. Pepper album. You know?
Yeah. When
it shows real talent.
It was just like them two and a drum machine. Like, I have a lot of respect for people who make great music with minimal stuff. That's what I try to do.
So the idea of having a different song, like every song, and the stylistic thing is one of the albums I do pull out every now and again for one of those most people haven't heard of. Of course, now with YouTube, most everybody's heard of everything now, you know. But there was this band that my uncle and them, or maybe it was my older cousins, had an album floating around. And I picked it up one day. I was like, this is an interesting cover. Let me put this on. And oh my God, the first song blew my brain. The second song was like, is this the same album? By the third song, I'm like, okay, what the fuck am I listening to? It's an album that it really has no name that I know of, but the band's name is Klaatu, Klaatu. No? You ever heard of it?
Nope.
I'll send you some links.
Looking it up.
Dig in.
No.
Yeah. The album is the one that has calling occupants from interplanetary craft. And then there's a song on there called Anus from Uranus. And it's a brilliant little jamming groove. And then there's one on there called Sub Rosa Rosa. And it's like this weird, almost like a beach jam. And then there's this other one on there that's almost like this British Babel song. I don't know. They are the nuttiest thing, and it's one of my favorite albums. I still have a CD cut of it in the car, literally right now in my 6 rack that I go to almost every other day. It's one of those albums. So yeah, and the idea of them just being every song a completely different entity. Like, this isn't even the same band. I love that. I love that shit. So
how about this? I just discovered this band this week. They're from the 70s, so maybe other people who are older than me might know, but an all-female rock band called Fanny. Have you ever heard of them?
I do not know Fanny.
Oh, it's incredible. It's criminal that this band isn't famous. I mean, there's nothing weird about that. I just discovered this band, right? So you go in the comments, and there's tons of people that are like, I just found this band in 2020, but the 2 lead singers are sisters, Jean and June Millington. They're like Filipina or something, I forget, but one plays bass and one plays guitar. So whatever, that's cool. But then I see a post on Instagram pop up that somebody's like, oh, about Fanny, and like nobody else knows this band. And not only that, but today or yesterday is the one chick's birthday. And I'm like, that's just bizarre. Like, I've never heard of them before. And then the next day after I find them, it's her birthday. It's too weird for me to ignore. I don't know.
I like those.
Synchronicities.
Yeah.
So I've got a song on my Pandora playlist that I listen to quite often. I didn't listen to Pandora, but I listened to it like twice today. I know it's one Zach would really dig. Let me just do this real quick.
This is way
Sounds
back.
like What's Up.
Nope, even better.
Sublime.
When you grab a hold of me, tell me that I'll never be set free. I'm a parasite, creep and crawl, I step into the light. 2 pints of food.
See, to do a song like this on the mandolin just seems so natural to me. Like there's chop chords and stuff.
Yep, it sounds really good.
spend.
Thank you.
I hope this night will never end. Lord knows I'm weak. Won't somebody get me off of this reef? Baby, you're a big blue whale. Grab the reef and I'll go diving first. I swim, but I wish I never learned. The water's too polluted. I dive deep when it's 10 feet overhead. Grab the reef underneath my bed. Ain't got no quarrels with God. Ain't got no time to grow. Lord knows I'm weak. Won't somebody get me off of this reef? Ain't got no quarrels with God. Ain't got no time to get old. Lord knows I'm weak. Won't somebody get me off of this?
That is just awesome.
Nice.
Thank you.
Well, you mentioned
That
before
was
you weren't
That's a
really
little dated too. So
It is a little dated. But you said you weren't doing your banjo show too much anymore because you weren't like that was back when you had a job, sort of implying
Right.
that you don't have one now. And I did see, I'm pretty sure that you were offering to do cover songs. Yeah, $5 a pop.
I got to do something. Yeah.
Fucking yeah. So do you have a PayPal
Sure.
or something?
Sorry, what was that?
So do you have a PayPal or something where somebody can send you cash?
Yeah. I'll have to get it. I can't think what it is off the top of my head, but
No worries.
yeah, I had I think that was like iPhone 4S or something I recorded that on, because you could get like a 4-track app, and I just did I think I did, there's just the mandolin and then the vocals and then did the solo over the other part. And it's unbelievable how much you can do on phones now. I do all my videos and everything on my phone. And
It was so awesome, though. The energy,
Thank
dude,
you.
the feel of it. Like,
Yeah, dude, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
I was jamming. And when you broke out that mandolin and stuff,
right,
right?
right.
I was like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Look, everybody in chat's
Good
loving it too. Hori Sheet saying, "OMG, that was amazing. The energy, Stone, that was fabulous. I was busy dancing. I love it. I love it.
Third time I heard that song today.
I'll be jamming
Off the Terrestrial Mack
Fucking
YouTube
A.
channel.
I have sometimes there's some stuff I listen back to and I'm like, damn, that's good. Like even from an objective, because you have to, when you're trying to be an artist, you have to get over hearing yourself,
And it's hard, dude. That's what my problem
Yeah.
mostly is getting out of my own fucking way, I guess. So that was, I could hear the earnestness. I could hear that was the feeling. That was the most important thing.
Well, here's
That
what's
was
Fucking
probably back when, like around Friend Bomb days, and back when like I said, I was just locking myself in the garage. I'd get off work and just sit in the garage all day.
yeah, it says
doing shit
2014.
like that.
2014 when you uploaded that video, which is kind of where I was going to go with this thing next. Is your channel has just got so much content on there.
Yeah, and probably my most common comment I get is, I can't believe this doesn't have more views. And I say thank you, and please share it with somebody who might enjoy it, because I'm like stuck in a loop, man. I mean, I'm sure you guys know it's hard to it's hard to get anything out there. And I mean, I stream to like 6 different places and everything. And it's just,
Yep.
you know, to get 9 views or something.
Tell me about it. I know exactly how you feel. In so much that it's also a labor of love for us. And which is why I really hope people take advantage of just being able to grab a cover song of one of their favorite songs. You know, Mother's Day is just around the corner.
Yeah. You know, I did, this was one song I remember my mom wanted me to do, The Guitar Man by Bread. But like
Oh my God, dude.
There's a cake version of that song. So mine was like kind of a mashup of the old one and the cake one. I don't know if that's on my YouTube or not.
If it's not, you got to share a link, dude. That is one of my favorite bands that most people do not know because they are so old school, dude. I have like so many memories of my mom. Oh wow, you're gonna make me cry. That's awesome. I love that band, love that song, and I would love to hear your version. Sure.
I can't remember. I think it was one of those ones where I had to throw in like "Hi Mom" because it was
right.
You know, it's the only song my mom ever like requested.
Fucking A.
You know, one of the first, which is weird because I don't even really like this song, but one of the first songs I learned, I remember like my mom was in the living room watching TV and I was like, Mom, can you listen to this and see how it sounds? And it was Everlong by the Foo Fighters. And I still play that song now sometimes, but I'm not really into Dave Grohl or the Foo Fighters, but people like that song.
One
so I play
song was still, it hit me right at the right time, and it's still one I listen to, but yeah, I not a fan.
Oh, wow. I found it. It's from 2014 too.
I like egg roll. Egg roll's good. So yeah, I'm probably going to be hitting you up on that there, Terry. I'm not quite sure what songs, but I'm going to make sure they're interesting.
I will. See, the thing is too, I try to tell people, if you think like me as one dude with a guitar isn't going to sound anything like a studio version of a 5-piece band, I think people don't really grasp that. Because I have some covers of like System of a Down and like Metallica songs where it's like, you know, you have to use a little common sense and see that I'm kind of, you know, making the best of what I can do.
Right?
It's an artist's interpretation. You're allowed that artistic license, I think, for sure. And again, seeing you cover Bradley and Sublime shows that you don't need it to be overly produced. I think you're killing it with what you're doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I suppose most creative people do, but I struggle massively with knowing if what I'm doing is worthwhile, you know, because like you're saying, I do what I do because it's me and I love it. But at some point I am sort of trying to sell it to other people. So I do need, I do need people to like it. And, to a degree, it does matter to me what people think, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it is a struggle, especially these days, dude, when content is just overflowing out
it's
there.
Crazy. And
it's nuts.
And you go on like, I mean, not to be, I don't know, not to sound how it's going to sound, but like there's plenty, like on Instagram, it's just like, okay, this girl's talented, but she also never wears a bra. So like, that's why she has a zillion views.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know all about what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's unfortunate that a lot of what I see out there just, LC King, the man himself in chat, asking, can you do vocals for some of his music? I
can try.
That mashup, dude. I would love to hear that mashup. I would love to do some jams with you, do some harmonies, things like that. That would be great.
I'm just like
it's hard to freaking do anything live with each other with all these delays and lags.
Right.
And they make it hard on purpose. And then, throwing a track back and forth is doable, but it's just that's where I lose sometimes because I'm so, I'm just the jam dude. I'm not the tech dude, obviously. So, but yeah, I definitely would love to hear you guys mash it up.
Yeah, I'm down. Yeah, I've been wanting to like I have trouble sort of communicating and connecting with people. So that's what something at Solar Return was like. You already knew that at least you were on like one major wavelength with everybody, and that made it easier to kind of.
Oh yeah,
That's one of the best
no,
things.
you knew nobody was going to judge you for anything you said. You know,
Right. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, am I gonna be the weirdest guy there? It probably was.
Far from it, I would bet.
Oh man, this you should play this one, Accent. That's a pretty good one.
Dude, and you did that years ago. I haven't heard that
I'm
song
a
in so long.
massive Beck fan.
Oh, I saw Beck at the Metro in Chicago. This place holds like 600 max. It was awesome. It was the night before my senior year of high school starting. It was the Odelay tour. He came out in like a Love Boat uniform and a big wig on his head. And he's like, I am the captain of this vessel, and I'll be leading you on your journey this evening. Yeah, dude, it was awesome. Played asshole. It was
my thing with Beck is that he's always just does whatever he does. And I think like I try not to hero worship too much because I don't really like believe in that. And I understand that these people are just people, but like I love when you listen to his really old music, it's like shitty tape recordings in his apartment and you can hear his neighbors fighting. And like now his new music is like highly produced pop dance music. And I love all of it. It's just so I like all of it. Yeah, Sea Change, that's a great one. I like Midnight Vultures is probably my favorite Beck album.
Yeah, that guy, talented, you know, for sure. Plays all his own instruments and stuff. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm standing right here with the beer in my hand and my mouth is full of sand. And I don't understand. Big fat fingers pointing into my face, telling me to get busy cleaning up this place. 14 days I've been sleeping in a barn, headache and a pig's head tattooed on my arm. Whistling Dixie with the Dixie cup filled with the barbecue sauce and the dental floss chill. I got bent like a wet cigarette. Now she's coming after me with a butterfly net, riding on a bloodhound, ringing a bell. Black cat wrapped in a roadmap to hell. Pencil in my leg and I'm trying not to beg. Taking turns baking worms with the bacon and eggs. Now they got me in a bird cage, flapping my jaw like a pretzel in the stars, just waiting to fall. So give me what I got to get so I can go, cause I ain't washing dishes in the ditch no more. Cause I ain't gonna work for no soul-sucking jerk. I'm gonna take it all back and I ain't saying jack. Cause I ain't gonna work for no soul-sucking jerk. I'm gonna take it all back and I ain't saying jack. Rocking the town like a moldy crouton, flying through the air with breeze. I got a job making money for the man, throwing chicken in the bucket with a soda pop can. New green uniform on my back, I had to set it on fire in a vanishing act. I looked on the counter like a bird with no hair, running through the mini mall in my underwear. I got lost downtown, couldn't find a ride home. The sun went down, I got frozen to the bone till a hooker let me share a fake fur coat. As I took a little nap, the cops picked up the spot. I tried to explain, was only trying to get home. I knew I never ever should have burned my uniform. He said, too bad, better bite the bullet hard, son. I didn't have no teeth, so I stole his gun. Now I'm crawling out the window with the shadow in my spoon, dancing on the roof, shooting holes in the moon. Cause I ain't gonna work for no soul-sucking jerk. I'm gonna take it all back and I ain't saying jack. Cause I ain't gonna work for no soul-sucking jerk. I'm gonna take it all back and I ain't saying jack.
You look so young. I mean, you still look pretty damn young, but
I was gonna say that's a young dude there.
You guys, how old do you think I am?
Let me see you again.
I met you, I don't know, 29.
30 top.
I just turned 30 this year. Yeah.
See, look at me. That was tops. I was going to give you 25 though, because
It's weird. My whole life, people always thought I was older.
you have an old soul. That comes through with everything, sir.
Thank you. I've heard that a lot, actually.
I don't doubt it.
I'm starting to think it's true.
Part of your makeup, without a doubt.
Kind of like Jonathan from Jersey when he was on Mark Sargent's show. There was just something that I kind of vibed with Jonathan about, not having any communicated with him, just being a observer of, what he's doing. I just kind of caught a vibe. It was the same thing with you, Terry. I see just an occasional Facebook post scroll across my face on occasion, but there was just something I was vibing with. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, it's well, going back to what like Walt was saying about people who turned out to be sheeple, I'm sure we both have seen that with that friend bomb nonsense. How many of these people just fell right the fuck back into the system, dude? It's disheartening, and it's like, man, you used to be about like fuck the police and stuff. Now you're like, let's go vote, and why don't the police kill that guy? Like,
I know, I don't get that, dude. I just can't even. I see they got families and they had, they got jobs, and I got the same things. I got jobs and I got family, but I taught my son, to be the next generation that does question authority and fuck the police and, those same things that I learned, and hopefully he'll take and then grow on and pass on to his son. And the fact that these other people who were on that same, not just that same path in their life, but we shared experiences that were integral to what or who I am. And yet when I reached certain stages, they had to draw a line and go, oh, that's too much. That's too big, too much for me to look at. Now I got to go, not just hide from that, but I've got to revert and go the other way. Now I think, like you said, let me go vote now. And oh, wait, NASA's cool. I'm like, what?
All the people that used to take acid and have orgies want to control everybody now.
Now they're on Paxil. Yeah, shit. And I know, as I say, we grow up, but I don't think it necessarily means we have, I think maturing is one thing, but growing to fit the system, that's not maturing. That's
maturity doesn't mean laying down for whatever happens.
You have to stop being that way. You're a grown up now. No, fuck you. I have to be who I am. And if you don't like it, there's a whole different place out there you can go hang out.
Being an adult means that you have to take responsibility for your actions and your consequences. And putting your head in the sand is not doing that at all. And being a good person is not doing that at all. That is a crime. Just my thoughts.
The worst kind of crime.
The worst kind of crime, yeah.
Who's had an enlightening life up till a certain point, and then, just decide to toe the line. Don't get it. And not just want to toe the line, but then when you try to come back and go, okay, hey, look, remember this, remember that. Well, now look at this and that, and they're just like, you're you're the problem with this world. You're the, and it's like, really?
I get it. Though.
I'm the problem.
I'm there. I'm right there with him. I kind of disagree. I'll take the opposing stance. If you want to vote, I say do it. If you're the type of person that says, fuck, I can't make a decent decision to save my life, I need to find somebody that's a much better human being than I am to make my life decisions.
You know who knows what I should do? Someone else.
Exactly.
That's it.
Oh, I love that.
Or that even better, not what I should do, but what my neighbors should do.
There's your next song. If you haven't written that fucking song, TJ, there it is.
There it is.
Fucking hey, holy shit.
So if you need to be led.
I have my own take on songwriting that I feel like is different from other people. But I don't, I never have an idea and then sit and say, I'm going to write about war or I'm going to write about this. I think that's phony and sort of contrived.
What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
To me, like I have an idea, maybe a sentence, maybe a phrase, and then I just kind of mentally build on it. And And there's even something Patrick said earlier, I can't quite remember now, made me think like there's songs I've written years ago that only make sense to me now. Or, you know, you see a different context of it now. But yeah.
The word for it is prescience, by the way. Spelled pre-science. Look it up.
For me, it was the Cottonmouth Kings. I remember just jamming to the Cottonmouth Kings way back in like the late 90s. Just digging it, getting rowdy. Fucking yeah, anarchy. Let's get crazy. Let's fucking fuck shit up. Let's do it. And then looking back and how they're still just peace and love and kind of hippie shit. And they're still kind of punk rock anarchy. But it's all of their music for me has taken on a whole new facet. It's the same stuff, and it means just as much to me now as it did then, but in a whole new way.
Or some music you realize like they're saying that stuff, but they're saying it within a certain bubble to keep it commercially viable, you know, because you can't actually be out fucking the system. We just say it, you know.
Although they did have one of their hype guys, the Tax Man. They came out with an album, Corporate Avenger. That was definitely not a commercially viable album. Definitely not, but it was still some pretty entertaining stuff. You guys go check it out. Very Native American based. It was really good stuff. Corporate Avenger.
So, I mean, I don't know, but to go into back to Solar Return, that was my first flat Earth like event at all, right? So that makes it a whole different thing too. But I learned two things about about flat earthers that I didn't know. So, and I include myself in this, of course, and I'm not, you know, I don't mean to take shots anyway. That's not what I'm saying. But flat earthers swill energy drinks. And I drove 9 hours. I'm not acting like I wasn't drinking energy drinks too, but like, I just thought it was funny for people who are like conscious and awake to how bad stuff is. Like, the garbage cans are overflowing with energy drinks, and I thought that was funny.
But it's not real
piss. Coffee, dude. I'm a coffee.
I drink coffee all day too.
When I grab a Red Bull, I go tell the lady I'm going to get my poison for the day.
I always tell people. I know
what it is.
And even when I did drink them, that was the least one I would. I hated the taste. I hated.
Same here. Well, that taurine or whatever is yucky.
Yeah, it makes me feel bad.
So the problem with them is that they work.
Coffee.
Balls, BAWLS, comes in a blue bottle.
Oh, those things tasted horrid, though.
Oh, dude, those were amazing.
I might like them. I might like them.
Balls are great. They tasted good.
I'm gonna look at. Oh my gosh!
Josh, shut the fuck up.
Oh, where are you going, Josh?
I saw the face, Josh. Don't even.
I'm looking.
The next sound bite for Tuesday morning. I see it already. You fucker.
Yeah, I'm gonna isolate that shit right down.
So, the second thing I learned: flat earthers allegedly smoke weed like it's going out of style. I was allegedly. I was worried about I was worried if I should, you know, bring something with me or not, and plus because of the long drive, or if I would be able to procure that while I was there. But yeah, it turns out that would have not been a problem. In fact, the other problem was that like I couldn't keep my fucking head straight the whole time because there was somebody handing you something anywhere you were. It was great.
Nice.
Well, you know what they say that's one of the reasons why they made cannabis illegal is because it stops their propaganda. Their waves, their propaganda waves, the mind control doesn't work.
The great deprogrammer. That's what I call it.
You're high. Yeah. So imagine that, a bunch of flat earthers, you know.
That's just a good like camaraderie, you know, friendly thing to it. Yeah.
It's a bonding, man. When you get
until you're sitting there melting into the picnic table, though. Then.
Well, luckily we have a bunch of alchemists around too, so they'll just recoagulate you as something else.
Make gummy bears out of you.
Oh, and the gummy bears were good. Thank you, Joel. Special thanks to Joel.
Yeah.
Does Joel
things were in abundance. Everything was love was in abundance. Hugs were in abundance. Energy was in abundance. The sunshine was in abundance. The laughter was in abundance. It was all good. I take it you had a good time and you're going to be coming to another Flattoberfest or some of our other events, or
Definitely, assuming I can swing it. But yeah, I mean, like you said, the weather Friday was gorgeous.
Yeah, I couldn't beat it. They were calling for rain and this and that, and it cleared up like as soon as we got there. It was a little bit cloudy, but then within like an hour, there wasn't a cloud overhead at all. Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah, again, going back to something Patrick said before about just like observing, that's kind of how I felt at Solar Return. Like I interacted with some people like, more of the, what would you call it? YouTube creators, but maybe not all of them that I wanted to, but like, I was happy just being in the presence of all those people and, knowing the things they've done and stuff. Like it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I totally get that.
Well, he got to see why Zach and I like it so much with the hands-on and the way that people's faces and that go childlike when they're over at the table and playing with the different things.
Did I hand you a gyroscope?
Me, I actually did not. I strolled by a couple times. You guys were so mobbed that I didn't bother.
Next time.
No, and I brought this thing of rocks and crystals that I wanted to bust out on Cammy too, but I never got the chance to really.
Well, you can do that another time or even do a side thing on it. It is kind of crazy by the tables, and it's not going to get any better because Karen says she's making us a big banner for next time to go above our tables, and everybody was like, where are they? So we had so much fun. It's like fun to just watch people's eyes go, huh? So that's part of with the smoking and everything else. Just a all over treat.
Even the coffee.
Especially
you had to watch out for the coffee.
coffee.
Paul Dini was getting people who didn't even have a clue.
I got to see Dave Weiss flat smacking like a 10-year-old girl too. That was pretty funny. Like I was coming back from the parking lot, and you know how there was like the sidewalk and then the stairs, and there's Dave and this girl, and she has this kind of like skeptical look on her face, looking up at the sky. And I just like said, "Hey, Dave," and shook his hand and, just kept walking, but he didn't miss a beat. He was like pointing at the sky and telling her, and she's like, "Really?" Like it was just so fun. Like it's exactly what you would imagine David Weiss would be doing. It was just, it was funny.
He's like it in person. She was curious, and he was not hostile or in any way anything but fun. And it was a picnic. It was joyous to see. Really fun.
And then, like I was saying, some of my favorite time there, like the whole thing was great, but that Friday morning where like I got there and it was Zach was there, Chris Van Maitre, what's his name? That flat fellow, Tommy.
Tommy.
Yeah. And then like Richard Lopez showed up, and I was like helping those guys set up and bullshit with him. And like I said, that was like my favorite part because everybody was kind of like getting ready. I don't know how to explain it. It must have just been the energetic thing or something. But
two thoughts have come to mind hearing this. Number one, we need to make up some special IRM passes to get our guests to the front of the line for the demonstration with Cammy and Zach. Number two, we need to get a team together to help Cammy and Zach, like Robert Page there in chat just said. You guys need some helpers with this if y'all are being so swamped, it sounds like. Just a team of gyroscope zippers to hand them off. Yeah, we
are working on things, and I have to tell you, like, just how the universe works with us. I went to a place this week to regenerate, and if I was going to go regenerate, where would I go? I would go to Dixie Gym, and I highly recommend the Dixie Gym Company in Greenville, South Carolina. The proprietor knows his rocks the way I do, actually. We bonded. He's been doing it as long as I have. I fell in love. And he gave me a whole bunch of, I told him I was getting the children to look away from the computers and at the rocks and how they fluoresce and how the Polaroid filters, you can make the optical jumps and the way that they react to different things. And he gave me all kinds of fluorite and calcite and things. I told him I did little giveaways with the kids, like little UV flashlights. And I don't know if you guys know, but part of the reason that we're so popular is the children, I give them things that glow in little UV pen lights. And some of the kids even got what I loved it. They called the Meriscope skies. They wanted to have the skies. We put together kits that we did for the homeschoolers, and just the kids individually got little things. So the universe just donated a whole bunch of fluorite, a whole bunch of calcite, and things that glow and will light up for what we're doing and putting together for the kids, so they take apart some of the curiosity and wanting to learn and not just stare at the computer. So yeah, things are growing, things are happening. People want to learn. And if you see how people react to understanding what's going on and really being taught what's going on, looking at reality instead of looking at fiction, all of a sudden, again, it feels fresh. It feels right to see how rocks grow, to see how magnetics work, to feel the gyroscope again, how these different forces that are really there affect everything around you, and how you can see them and touch them and feel them and test for them. The kids want to know. The adults get childlike for a few minutes, but again, I focus on the children. They really want to know how to learn. And they can get past, that's the main thing is instead of going and memorizing facts, they can look at how to look at things and figure out how to learn, how to learn and make the next, take it further. Like, what is this? What am I looking at? Why? What makes it different than this? How does it work? The important stuff. How do plants, grow in reality? How do rocks grow? Because they're growing all around you at all times. And they've convinced you at school to memorize that this happened hundreds of thousands of years ago, and it's all over millions of years ago. And it's not, people. It'd be like saying the plants are all done growing too. That happened years ago. Rocks are growing all around you. Look for them. You fall in love with them if you do look at and for them. I can make you do it. Again, you can't look at this stuff and not fall in love. What do you think, Zach? Zach,
Yeah,
you muted.
I've been collecting rocks from out in the yard. I've been digging up so many crystals and all this kind of stuff. I figure I might as well just hold on to these, and we can just give them out to the kids and stuff like that. The meetups and whatnot.
We can polish them, we can tumble them, we can give them finishing and things like that, and they will love them.
You saw that one that I found. That one was gorgeous.
I'm holding it right now. I don't know if in the light I can catch. Let me see if I can put some different lightings on it.
Well, that one's okay. I found.
You found a lot of other nicer ones too, but this one he handed me right, and it's a beauty.
Awesome. Oh wow, what you got, man? Let me see. Say something so it gets big.
Hey, hold the light behind it, Cam. You don't shine it on it. Hold the light right behind it, up to it. Does it glow?
Okay. I will show you it going through it. What you're looking at right now. I'm sorry, I'm already on to something else, but I'll do it back. This is like that geode. Like at Dixie Jim, I had a lot of fun. He treated me right, and again with the kids right here. This is what you want is behind it to see what it transmits.
Yeah.
As opposed to where's some quartz.
That's calcite, right? That white one that I found today.
I haven't tested it at all. It could very, very well be calcite. There are a lot of things that look like calcite. This is quartz, and see how well this transmits the UV. Do you see it going through? And this is again, I take it away. It's not. Things would look very different looking through different materials. That again.
Are there things that will transmit IR the same way?
That's okay. That's the whole thing is when you look at what stones are, and when you do what I used to do, and this is what I don't think people get, it's testing the properties that make them different from one another. So how do they transmit IR, infrared, how do they transmit UV? What's their specific gravity? How do they bend light waves? What are they affected by polarity of light because they have more than one axis? Again, you're looking at all the properties of how they bend and treat light, and these are the properties that make them different from each other. Also, how do they conduct electricity? How do they conduct magnetism? Are they paramagnetic? Are they ferromagnetic? Are they, again, how do they handle all of electricity and magnetism? And how do they react with other things around them, whether they dissolve in what, these are the properties that make them unique. And so when we do technology and things like that, again, you build on what your element is, your element, and compounded into that. These are your minerals, and this is what's all around you. And you can, again, purify it, regrow it, do different things. But each one of them has its own property and will transmit light differently and will bend it. You're saying can it or will it? It's like that's what makes them different. That's what makes calcite different than quartz, than different than how does it play with the light? That is its property. I mean, and you can measure it. You can measure the angles it plays with it at. The optic axis is all of the little things, and that's what I used to do, is test those little properties all day. So it was really fun.
I was about to run off for coffee, but something just hit me. It's interesting that that's how they've chosen to catalog those things rather than by, like a density factor or a...
density is one of the properties.
Oh, it is? Okay. Well,
density, specific gravity. That's why
it's not just the light product. That's just one of the catalogs.
That's just one of the properties. And you look at things all together. How dense is it? How does it handle electricity? How does it handle thermals? What does it conduct? What does it insulate? How, again, does it fluoresce? Does it photoluminesce? Things that make things different than other things. Again, what's its unique properties?
Well, just when you started with the light and showing the different things of how it stood out so differently. So it's like, well, maybe that's the key, is the light, and it's, how they focus things with different crystals and diamonds for lasers and all those different things. So just,
honestly, in gemology, people usually go for the lights more, because you think of it, we're usually dealing with things that are mounted in jewelry that we're not taking and weighing them or getting to test their density or specific gravity or that property without unmounting and, doing destructive tests. So we are taught to really focus in on what they're doing with light, but those other properties really do exist, and you can, if you have the loose, test for it. I was laughing. You're holding it in there at Dixie Gym. I was laughing because we were counterparts, but I'm used to working with polished, and he's used to working with minerals, the rough minerals. And he was saying how much harder my job was because I don't really see all the things. It's all polished, and they all pretty much look a lot the same by the time I get them. And he really sees the differences. And I was looking at it saying, oh, wow, his job is a lot harder than mine, because I have equipment that my little faceted things, read all the light and stuff for, just like that a lot of his rocks are not going to be able to do that to. So again, we had different parts of the geekiness, and it was a lot of fun it was a good day. It was a really good day. I have lots of new toys and lots of new rocks on my desk and lots of giveaways for the kids.
That's awesome. I'd like
bags
to
of them
and hang out. There's a few places here, well, not here, but in Lafayette, that we like to go to that have some great people, great energy, great stones. So I know in the spiritual or the esoteric, I guess, side of the crystals, a faceted crystal that you would try to wear as a piece of jewelry versus an unfaceted piece of jewelry is very different. Like, okay, especially with like a powerful stone, like there's like moldavite is especially one. I have a rough piece that a man I know that used to be a really good guy with wire work. He made a wire ring for me out of that piece, and it felt great. The energy from it was great. It was my ring. And then at the next UFO convention I went to, they had some faceted little ear studs, and they were brilliant green, awesome. Green is one of my favorite colors. So I bought the pair because I knew I'd eventually lose one of them. But this was before I knew about the difference between faceted and unfaceted. As soon as I put that earring in my ear, it was like an antenna went off.
Mm-hmm.
Every freaking night I had some kind of experience. It was too much. I couldn't handle the faceted. And then I lost it. Like the first shower I took with it in my ear, I lost it. So I knew it wasn't something I needed to have yet. So yeah, faceted versus, I don't know, is that?
Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about, we'll go to diamonds because that's really easy. I'm taking little rocks and putting the crystals back in the bag. But with diamonds, I don't know if people have heard of something called ideal proportions. If you've ever bought a diamond, then they're going to charge you a lot more for ideal proportions. And what ideal proportions are basically, when you cut a diamond, if you cut it to a certain proportion, like cut the bottom, which is called the pavilion, angle, that when the light comes in, if it hits a certain angle, it's going to bounce, hit the other angle, and come back to your eye, as opposed to it. If you cut it too deep, for instance, it will hit an angle, go down, and you'll get a dark spot. Or if you cut it too shallow, it will wash through like a piece of glass washes through. So there's a critical light angle that you want to hit. And like with diamonds, it's 43, or the percentage 43.1, and the angle is 40. I'm used to doing it visually, not by repeating the numbers, but there's an angle that you want to hit on the pavilion that sends the light back up perfectly. And then at the top part of it, the crown the crown of the diamond, where you cut it like that breaks it up into the colored light spectrum. And the table breaks it up into the white light spectrum. And so you get a really nice, beautiful light balance. You're concentrating and columnating the light if you do it correctly. On the other hand, with the diamond, if you cut it too deep, people buy them by how much they weigh, not how big they are, really how much they weigh as a weight. So if you cut it too deep, you don't see the weight, but it really hurts the energy and it hurts the way it reflects back. But you'll say that this diamond weighs a carat instead of like 3/4 of a carat, even though it's the same diameter. It's a huge trickery in the jewelry industry you have to cut away that weight to get to the critical light angles. So when you're talking about cut having more focused energy or more power, a lot of it is that they're cut specifically using the angles of the stone to columnate and work like a little mirror back up at you.
So it's literally beaming the energy harder.
So it's literally beaming the energy right back at you, really intentionally on purpose. And again, when it's not done on purpose, it's really done on purpose too, because it's done on purpose to retain weight or to trick a customer that, again, you would pay for weight that you're not seeing and that's actually hurting you. Dirty trick. Something that makes the diamond uglier. But yeah, they do it. They have something called that. And what's interesting is if you get an eye for diamonds, you can look at, and I can tell you, like, your crown angles are supposed to be 34.5 degrees, and your table is supposed to be, I like it at about 56, 57. If you look at diamonds enough, what you can do is you can eyeball it and get to the point that you are smack on with these angles by where things reflect in it. Like, you look for a set of facets and say, where are they reflecting in the stone? Because stone works like a mirror. So somebody that has an eye for diamonds can look into the diamond and, without taking an instrument, tell you how that diamond is cut and what all of the angles are on it by the way that it's playing with the light. So that's kind of an eye for diamonds, is how looking into the stone and knowing what it's doing with the light. And from there, you can name every angle on it and backtrack the math out. It's really easy. But they pattern, especially when they're cutting around. You have to look for different patterns for different shapes. But again, where they leak light out and where they reflect it back up, that all has meaning. And it has meanings with a critical light angle. It has meanings in physics for what the material is. Just fun facts. I'm probably boring everybody.
No, you're not. It's way a lot of stuff I would not be able to keep up with like you keep it up, man. That's just.
Of
course, you did it a minute, didn't you? You were at.
I did it my whole life. I mean, that's what I did.
What's up, Bob, in the background?
Hi, Bob, in the background and going through. Yeah. Woo, and he's waving.
Well, he turned the light on. It's like, boom, there's Bob. So anyway,
there he goes.
That's nice. Well, I saw you showing something, and I couldn't quite see it a while ago. TJ, what were you holding up to Crystal? Because
I gotta change my light. Hold on.
Oh wow, yeah. Since I've gone away, you've gone multicolored.
It's a big old amethyst.
Oh, that's
I don't know if I can make
cool.
it focus right.
Yeah, I love those.
Chords.
It's my birthstone, so I've always been partial to it.
So you're born in February. Woohoo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can play the name of your birthstone. You tell me your birthstone, I tell you what month you're born, and I'm going to get it right.
Garnet.
January.
I knew you. I know you. I can't.
I know. It's not a fair game. Again, I have a lot of years in practice, so yeah. Love rocks.
They had a store in Oregon. I can't remember the name of it now, but inside they had a geode that was large enough for you to back yourself into almost like a sarcophagus.
Wow.
It would be celestite. It would be this probably stone here that grows that big.
So huge. It was
okay.
amazing.
That was
there's
almost
one in Ohio you can walk into.
Yeah, like a
It's
house.
supposedly the biggest geode
in the world.
we know of. Yeah. It's on an island out in the middle of Lake Huron. Not in the middle, but off the coast of Lake Huron in northern Ohio. Yeah.
It's what I'm holding up on the screen, by the way. It's celestite, and it's what they were going into that mine, Zach, and just crushing up all the celestite in that, because it's what they make fireworks and glow bracelets and all of that glow-in-the-dark stuff in is that stuff. But again, that giant geode that you saw and that giant cave that Zach is talking about was most likely celestite. It grows in the biggest geodes, and it's abundant. It's really fabulous, and it's what we make stuff that glows in the dark out of. When you wonder how do you get things, fireworks to glow up, how do you get little bracelets not to glow, it's this stuff here.
You're talking about like the juice, to click them, snap it, and the juicy stuff? Or are you talking
yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about, is those bracelets. And just a clue to you, those little bracelets and that you get the kids, those necklaces and bracelets that you bend, and they glow. If you want them to be a lot better, put them in the freezer. Put them in the freezer. Cold will excite the photoluminescence in it, or the phosphorescence, or whatever you want to call it, is going to make it brighter. It's a cold light, like our moon. This type of lighting is cold, and it's brighter when it's colder.
That's what I was going to say. That's what you've said the moon could be, right?
Well, when I say the moon could be that, I mean, I think the moon's a mineral, and I think this is the base. From everything I've read about the moon, there's going to be a lot of other gems or other stones that are going to commingle there, because that's how rocks do. They commingle. So when I say it's a geode of celestite, I would be surprised if it would be nothing else there. But there I see an octahedral going that looks magnetic to me. There's a neat story about Thor's hammer, that if you go through the comic books and that, you see that it's from Uru, and Uru is a different moon off of a planet that they sold you, right? But if you go to Norse mythology, Uru really is where supposedly they got Thor's hammer, and it was made out of material that was only found on the moon, and it was the same thing as the Thamos's armor and the indestructible, like the hammer or the armor that they show in these movies. And this is supposedly made from, they tell you no, this other planet, but if you follow the mythology is this is from something that only grows on the moon. So I think that's fascinating. And if you look at who does really good moon photography, I think Dave Marsh. He does. Look up Dave Marsh's moon work. He'll zoom in and go. You can look at Thor's hammer on the moon. There is this spot on the moon called Thor's hammer. It's very cool. I don't know what's again myth or what's real or that, but looking at the moon, or what I would call the hologram of the moon, through the P900 and through a telescope a lot. We had a giant Meade telescope here for years, so I have spent a lot of time looking at the moon under high magnification, and you see the same type of things that you see with a rock. You see, zooming in with the P900, I swear I saw a three-phase inclusion, which would be indicative of celestite. It's one of the few things that has a three-phase inclusion. You see where it looks like the burst, where it makes that starburst going all around. That happens in gemology a lot. What that happens with is when you have a crystal inside that's more heat resistant than the exterior crystals. So when you're exposed to heat, that inner crystal bursts out. It makes that starburst pattern that heals as it cools, and then again explodes or whatever as it gets heated. It's called a heat fracture. So again, those patterns that we see on the moon, you see in gemology on different things. And again, that starburst pattern is really, really common, and you can visualize it happen if you have a smaller crystal inside it explodes and it would look. It's indicative of when you're looking at it under the microscope in finished goods, it's indicative of heat treatment, meaning somebody used heat to improve the color on it a little bit. It happens in nature too, though, if you heat it up. So if you put the moon close to a heat source like the sun, some of the inclusions, could react. Depends on how hot you get and what we're talking about up there. Things that I've been looking at really tend to push to the idea that the physical sun and moon are up in fluid. The sun is in a hot pocket of gas, and the moon is in a cool area, but just the pocket around the gas, maybe like the sun luminescence, or you'd see it's like a hot pocket of gas where the sun is. So you get near that pocket. I think you heat up some, and as you go away from it, you get cooler. All of a sudden, then the cycles do themselves, and it makes a lot of sense. I don't pull in mythical things to work with, because what we really have all around us, again, like celestite that grows and things that grow on perfect geodes and things that fluoresce and create their own light, 17% back on celestite, that match these things. You can watch them grow all around you. They're reality. You don't need to digitally create anything. That's not how you do it, is with wires and things. You grow with frequency, harmonics, and the elements and the codependence of temperature in that.
Shout out to Karen B in chat. Another big fan of the crystals.
What's up, Squad?
Huge. Guess who was at Dixie Gym with me? It was Karen B.
I just want to let Karen know we were singing the praises of the solar return.
Definitely were.
Absolutely.
And I do have to say, way back when you first said you spent the day at, damn it, the name again, I'm sorry.
Dixie Gym.
At Dixie Gym, I thought maybe you were pumping iron. Turns out you were pumping crystals, and that's even better.
Yeah, we were pumping. It's beautiful. Really a nice day. I needed a Karen B. Love it.
I might go do that tomorrow, actually. Mm-hmm. I might go hit up the place in Lafayette. I haven't been in a few months, actually.
I kept hearing it in a Scottish accent. Dixie Jim.
Dixie Jim.
Get in my belly. That was Sunny Jim.
All right, give me half a minute, guys. I need coffee. I will be back.
I did think it strange that they would use Dixie and Jim. And it wasn't until just very recently that I realized it's not Jim, but Jim.
Yeah.
Ah.
Right.
G-E-M. Gotcha.
It's all in the pronunciation.
Yeah, just the emphasis of the syllables.
Something tells me that Dixie would love this store, by the way.
She probably would.
Probably would. Very, very nice place. Yeah, she would. They did business good. They had nice prices and nice, a lot of fun, unusual crystals and one of a kinds. And they had their own makeshift fluorescent black box. And again, true nerds like I am, I highly recommend them.
So, Terry, do you have people in your life that you can just like nerd out with this stuff too?
Unfortunately, not really. That's something I was going to say. Like, maybe I have like two friends I can kind of, but like they're open to it, but they haven't like dove into it like I do. So, but actually my one friend that, that passed away actually was one of the most like open-minded people I've ever known. So like, I don't know. I almost feel like there's some irony there, but that was, I sort of used that to tell time from when like that happened, seeing things before that and things after that. Mm-hmm. But it was 2015 that I remember us talking about flat earth stuff. So back then already I had come across something and took it to him, and he was just right. He was just right. Like, yeah, like, you know what I mean? Just like, because we always like to kind of just throw ideas out and think about it, which is like a thing that I don't think people like to do for some reason. But like I remember us talking about how globes are kind of synonymous with like professors and education and that sort of thing. And it's just like, there must be a reason that there's always a globe in the background or somewhere. And I remember us talking about why it didn't seem like rockets should work in space. And at that time, I didn't know like anything about it, but it just thinking about it didn't seem possible. And of course, my other friends were just like, people that are smarter than you have figured this out. So just because you don't get it, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, but kind of doesn't pass the common sense test, but whatever.
Jeez, Grunk, you're not a rocket scientist.
I'm sorry, what?
I said, geez, Grunk, you're not a rocket scientist.
Right, exactly. I'm not. Yeah, so that was a cool thing at Solar Return to be able to, like, there was a point I remember on Friday where we were just kind of throwing random things out. What do you think about this? Have you seen a video about this? And like, everybody would just run with it. Nobody was shied away from, it was pretty cool. Oh, and I wanted to shout out Phil. I met this dude, Phil. He was from North Carolina. And so I didn't actually catch your guys' show this morning, right? And like I was catching up on something, but because him and I exchanged numbers, and I got a text. He was like, "Hey, I heard you're gonna be on Have No Sphere tonight." And I was like, "What? Like what do you, I just found out, 2 days ago. What are you talking about?" But, so then I had to go listen to the show to see that you guys said anything about it. That was pretty funny. But yeah, shout out to Phil. He's cool.
What up, Phil?
What up, Phil? Yeah, that's the one thing I tell everybody about they're going to your first meetup if you've never been to one is there's nothing you're going to say that's going to scare people away, unless you tell them you're a serial killer or something like that. Then, yeah, you're going to get a reaction. But you saying that you think that there's a catastrophe, the mud floods or this, or, you could say pretty much anything that is, even aliens, any of that stuff. People they don't have to be from trillions of miles away. They're just in extra land somewhere. But yeah, I mean, you're not going to get laughed at for having an idea.
I remember, I don't know who, but I remember on Friday we were talking and somebody brought up about oxygen, something about oxygen being like a psyop or, I can't remember how it came up, but whoever we were sitting there and it was like, at first the one person was like, "Oh, I don't know." But I said, "Well, can you pull out an oxygen and show it to me? Can we measure one? How do you know you're breathing oxygen?" And then we were both just like, "Nah, fuck it. Oxygen's a psyop." Like, I'm willing to go with it now. Whatever. I don't mean to make it, not like it's that easy to just. But it was funny. Like we didn't have any qualms about just going with it.
Yeah.
I always try to tell people like, you're not going to lose anything just by thinking about something. You can only gain perspectives.
And in my experience, it's usually the best way to go with that idea because anything else will just get you in trouble.
Yeah. What was I thinking?
In my experience, when something triggers you or something makes you angry, it's really, really helpful. I have to tell you, I mean, a lot of my learning, in fact, I was just having a chat with Robert Pisano about this, is like a lot of my learning has come from where I did, when I hear them, they piss me off. And I don't know, it's like, where did that come from? Why would I be pissed about, like, why would I be pissed the first time I heard satellites were on balloons? Why would I, like, get hostile about that? Or, like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever, where did that reaction even come from? And then the more I looked into it, the more I found it was truth. And the same with monopoles, as far as like the existence and that of monopoles. My first thing was, it made me mad. That's ridiculous. A monopole can't possibly exist in nature because it's cutting apart something. But then it makes you stop and think through it. So a lot of the times when you're triggered, instead of getting mad back or engaging in the anger part of it, say, what's programmed in me to get triggered at information that should be, again, just hearing new information and something to filter through, good or bad, or that, again, information is not good or bad. It's always how people use it. We keep on attaching evil to objects or to people when it's really choices that are evil. As far as people make evil choices, do evil things, but like a color cannot be evil, an object cannot be evil, none of these things. A person's skin color is not evil. We sit there and program shit with it that makes you think that, you're supposed to hate them because they have the skin color, or you're supposed to hate them in our little game of divisiveness because they think differently. They think this religion differently, and it's taught to be a trigger. When it triggers you, step back and say, is there truth, and is it programmed in to be triggered? Usually the places where you jerk the hardest and have the most resistance, you've been exposed to the most programming. So just try to step back and say, why should this information piss me off? What is it about it? Is it the person saying it? And no, it probably isn't the person. I might be taking it out on them because they're saying it, but what exactly about this piece of information is setting these things off? Because we've all been heavily programmed since childhood. So you react like that, there's a good chance it was programmed into you to react that way. Just a thought.
I was trying to think of, just because I knew I was coming on here, what was my biggest flat earth thing that put me over the edge, not to make it fun, but one of the my first coming across the idea was a Facebook post, no doubt, some friend bomb people, but the one person was saying to the other one, where would you think you are if nobody told you where you are? And ever since I've heard that, I've tried to apply that to everything I do. Just think, what would this, what do I think this is without, any of the things that have been thrust upon me? And I think that more people should look at everything that way. I was saying at Solar Return, I was saying to somebody, I feel like it would have been, I feel like my life would be different if when I was a kid looking up at the sky, I would have been wondering about stuff instead of running with the ideas I was given about it.
Yes. You'd be so much more in touch because
right.
The ideas they gave you about it are so ungrounded and so in touch from reality that they, again, connect you to a fantasy world that is fantasy, but it ungrounds you, just connecting there.
And then not directly related, but I'm getting ready to move, and I'm moving back in the woods, which is awesome. So I'm stoked to go picking rocks around there and see what I can come up with.
Are you near the Blair Witch?
No. I'm near I guess this means nothing to other people. I mentioned it actually in one of my videos on my other channel. So my other channel, I started looking up local stuff about buildings and history of those buildings around here just for my own curiosity. And then, like you said, I don't really have any friends I can talk to about this stuff. So I started to be like, all right, I've been making videos for 9 or 10 years, so I can easily make a video just to, throw this stuff out there. But yeah, I mean, you do 2 searches and you're finding inconsistencies on, this brick building burned to the ground and was a pile of ashes and just all kinds of nonsense. So that was how I got into making videos, just stuff around here. But around here, I live close to Moonshine Church, and there's a whole haunted Blue-Eyed Six. There's all this stuff around Moonshine Church being this thing. These 6 guys killed somebody for some insurance money, and then they were hung. But it's weird. I don't know. It's just weird. The other thing that one of my last videos about on there was I called it Old Redacted Joe. There's a story of this escaped slave guy around here named Old Black Joe. And how I got onto this was just thinking, are you even allowed to say Old Black Joe anymore? So that's why I named the video that. But here, I did find out they were putting up a statue of him, and like the guy, he got a bunch of pushback for putting Old Black Joe on the thing, because even though they said that's the name he went by. But in my video, you'll see there's either the guy was 117 years old, or my idea was he may have lived through a time when they changed the dates, and maybe that's why his age is skewed. So I don't know, but yeah, I'm sure everybody, I was going to say this before, like if you put whatever state you live in and like mounds or like weird, like you'll find all kinds of weird.
It's everywhere. It's all over.
Yeah. It doesn't,
and
it's not focused in
my
one area
state,
at all.
I already knew about the mounds, the Indian burial mounds,
Right.
all what they are. And then I didn't know this until I found this crazy book on like obscure Louisiana legends and histories. And apparently when Louisiana was still prairie, that long ago, when Louisiana was still prairie, and they were trying to get people here and trying to like give people land and trying to populate this part of the world, they got here and found these bizarre little round holes, anywhere from like 2 feet wide to like 6 feet wide. Not very deep, maybe a couple of feet deep in places. Some had fish in them, some didn't. No clue how they were there, no clue why they were there. Their guess was that groups of cows would stand in a circle, and to keep mosquitoes off, they would stomp around in a circle, and that's how these holes were created. So yeah, dude, it's nuts.
Oh, that's hysterical.
To cover their asses and shit like this. Yeah. It's pretty nuts. But yeah, look it up anywhere you're at. I mean, Zach and I went to a little church here right down the street from me, about not even 4 blocks. And that day he was here, I discovered things about the church I've been around, a good portion of my life. So just look around your local area. You'll find some amazingly crazy shit. But link your channel, your other channel, so we can share it.
Yeah, dude. Can I put links in the regular chat, or do I have to be a mod?
You will be able to and can in a minute if I could speak words and Englishes again.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Zach and I don't think we have to go further in our backyard. We're still trying to figure out the dam there and when it was built. And again, we can't find anything. It's just always been there.
Yeah, I spoke to an 80-year-old man, I think it was last week, who learned to dive off that thing in the 50s when he was like 5. And he says his dad he's been looking his whole life to try and figure out who built that thing. They've swam all around it looking for dates and stuff like that, and they have no idea.
And they said it was really old then.
It's all like stone, like an old English castle, and then it's been covered with concrete on one side of it, the side where the water isn't up against it. But you can still see the old wall underneath it.
Sorry. Hey, real quick, TJ, type something in the YouTube chat so I can get you populated again, because I switched over and now I can't go back far enough to find you.
I live right outside Lebanon, Pennsylvania, right? So the other day I sold a guitar to a guy in Lebanon, Tennessee, and like that was just kind of blew my mind. Like, what are the odds of that? But the last time I came through Lebanon, there's a couple old churches and stuff I really want to just look at, see the story of them. And then I got to searching around online on some like a message board for people into like architecture and stuff. They're talking about how Lebanon, Pennsylvania has some of the best preserved Victorian buildings and this and that. And I was just like, what? There was something else that Zach said and I can't remember. You guys were talking about the dam. I was at this place years ago hiking, because I always used to go hiking and ride bike and stuff like that. So I had pictures from this place and it was beautiful. It's like a partially kind of natural looking dam, and then the rest of it is, you can tell, is like stacked. But I could not figure out where this was. So I was looking around the area till I finally came around it. It's called Saylorsville Dam. But I can't find, that's the only thing you can find about it, that there's a place called Saylorsville Dam. There's no I found one YouTube video where a guy made a little montage, and he's talking about that it flooded in 1849 or something. That's the only, and I looked up flood of 1849 and this, nothing. And so that's blowing my mind. And when you look it up, you get the generic map picture with like no, you know what I mean? There's just, it's like a dot of water in green. And I don't, so to me, there's just something to that. How does nobody know why this dam's here or what it did, or, you know, it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, the one we have even has like a pour spout going through it with a little, like, it kind of looks like a chimney almost, right in the middle of the dam. And then in the middle of the chimney, there's water just rushing through it. It's like, okay, that was obviously there for something. They were using that water pressure right there.
And
so
it has
what was right here? And nobody knows.
It has a well done channel to the side of it. I mean, it's well developed. It's not, very, very intricate.
I don't think I've done this in any videos, but I brought it up I'm in the autodidactic group on MeWe, but there's a hiking spot around here called Boxcar Rocks, or at least like that's what everyone I've ever known my whole life calls it, because I mean, they look like big ass box cars up there on top of the mountain. They're huge rectangle rocks. But I got to looking around online before, and it's like official name is the Chinese Wall, which is just kind of weird. But then I found I came upon some like drone pictures of it from way up, and I mean, it looks like a bunch of rectangle rocks stacked along the ridge of the mountain. And not only that, but at the one part, it looks like something just blew out a whole section of it. It's really bizarre. And like, you know, I've been going there my whole life and never gave it a second thought. And like now I have no idea what it is.
I'd like to see those pics, man. Are they in one of your videos?
I don't think I have that in a video, but I can.
When you have a minute, that's fine. Yeah, I love looking at stuff like that. I've done a few looking around this area for overhead footage of different things, and it's a whole different world when you're looking from up there. I had some little sad play drones. I never had a real good one like some of the ones that you can get with lots of money out there, but definitely it's a different view. You can get an idea of some stuff. And then seeing the things that they saw from way back in the day, from, you know, recently we talked about Turtle Island, the fact that North America and Native American history is a shape of a turtle. How the fuck did they know that, you know?
And then how about the thing David Weiss has been talking about, how the pattern on the turtle shell is, I don't remember. Yeah.
I don't know it either. Zach probably could hit it more on the head than I can.
Yeah, it's got 13 big things for the months, for the moons, how many times the moon goes around, and then 28 smaller little things that go around its shell, around the outside of those 13, making up the 28 days of each month. It's like perfectly symmetrical with nature. It's just wild.
When I came, so I was looking at some buildings when I came through Lebanon the other day, like I was saying. One of them's the farmer's market, just because I've probably been there once or twice, but it's a huge like stone building. So I thought I'd look into it. And here, the site where that's built was originally the county jail. So I get to looking for the county jail, and I mean, it's a fucking castle, right? And if that's not enough, I've already brought up, I had in my, or at least had it saved, but it might have been in other videos, stuff about this Schuylkill County jail, which looks identical. It's an identical castle. It's insane. And it's crazy that you can't, like, I'm looking for somebody to explain it, you know?
Right. I only in the last year found out that here in Louisiana, the old Baton Rouge Capitol building was a fucking castle in South Louisiana. What? So,
or like, I wanted to,
building. So yeah, I had no clue.
I know some other, like UAP and some other people have covered it before, but the City Hall building in Philadelphia, it's massive. And like they were going to tear it down, but it would bankrupt the city. I tried to bring that up to like normies before. I'm like, how do you explain that they built this, but they couldn't afford to tear it down? And people just make up stuff.
But they could tear down like massive amounts of shit at every World's Fair, right?
Right. Those temporary buildings.
I know
So
the lies go so deep, don't they?
Yes. So like I said, that place being called the Chinese Wall, I also maybe this isn't related or maybe it is, but I think it's in Reading, Pennsylvania. There's a place called the Pagoda, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a pagoda, like a perfect Asian style building that they say is a stylized restaurant or whatever, built in like 1901 or 1900. But I pulled up a picture of the roof, and there's a big like antiquitech kind of spire thing on top, and I'm like, man, come on.
Yeah. It's everywhere. It really is. And all you needed was someone to kind of point it out, And then it's just like, duh.
Yeah.
Why didn't I think of
Finally,
that?
I'm
Same
sorry,
thing with flat Earth,
Right.
Yeah.
I was trying to find my mute button. I lost it playing with the links and stuff, trying to get everything out there. But you'll be surprised, especially in your own town, your own little area, because you've been there so long. I mean, you hear the old classic cliche of like most New Yorkers have never seen the Statue of Liberty, that kind of thing. You're there, it's there. Yeah, I'll see it one day. That was my thing, like in Mississippi, the Vicksburg Park. When I was growing up there, it was just a thing we went to on field trips. I've been there hundreds of times. Even when I was moved back there in 2000, went through it. It was cool, old stuff. Kind of felt creepy. Got weird energy in certain little domed buildings with circular holes in the ceiling that I had no clue what I was inside of at the time. Now, if I was there with knowing, what I know about the hidden nature of history, it would be a whole different place now. So yeah, just go back, go look at those things that you saw when you were a kid. Go to those places right there in your neighborhood. You'll be just stunned at what's there.
Yeah, I knew the museum wasn't built to be a museum. In Chicago, the Museum of Science and Industry and the Natural History Museum, when I was there, especially when I was younger, good Lord, those places look so pathetic and sad in those big giant buildings. They had these little tiny displays and then like a huge corridor, this like a giant would walk down with these ginormous windows and all this with these little tiny displays like every 10 feet, like on a folding table or something. It's like, really? This giant building and this is the displays you put up? This is your museum? Really? I couldn't believe it. Yeah. The only cool part I really liked was the gems, going into the gem room. They had all kinds of cool, crazy rocks that you would never. Yeah, that was the only thing that caught my eye in I think it was the field. No, Museum of Natural History. Yeah, they had a bunch of stuffed animals and crap like that. But I'd been to the zoo. I'd seen all those things in like real life.
Fuck that. Zach's going to the gym.
They had the caveman and all that kind of crap, and yeah. But seeing the rocks was cool. Like they had some big, ginormous rocks. All I kept thinking about was being a cat burglar and breaking in there, at night when nobody's around. Yeah.
I'm Hudson Hawk.
Yeah. But yeah, those buildings were definitely not built to be a museum.
All that stuff's crazy. The fairs and all of it. I don't quite know what to make of it. It's hard to even put together like a coherent picture of what actually went on.
What the fuck happened, right? And that's part of the whole thing. Sitting there for hours with Martin trying to work it all out, just like, yeah. Still not even a clue.
Yeah, and like,
Yeah, I love
who
Martin.
knows? When did the technology? How many different times has this happened? Like a reset. And did the people who built all these crazy buildings in like northern Russia, St. Petersburg, and stuff like that, did they build the pyramids too? Because those buildings don't look anything alike. So how many civilizations and which technologies, have been passed on, and which ones are forgotten? There's just so much that we don't know.
Have you guys ever seen the channel Susquehanna Alchemy?
No.
That dude really, I don't know. I'm not sure how much he's like flat earth or anything. And I'm kind of partial because he's local. What's that?
Drop a link.
Oh yeah,
Check
I
it
gotta
out.
find
Cool.
it. But he does live streams on like the history of. He did these things talking about how the Susquehanna River being and like other rivers being used as altars, and how like he's making a comparison between the Susquehanna and the Seine River in what's that, in France or something. How like they both have a Statue of Liberty at the same place. They both have the city of Columbia at the same location along the river, and all sorts of weird things that like tie together. It's really interesting. And
You know what the
something else
name of Washington, D.C. was before it became Washington, D.C.?
it's Rome, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Nice.
I thought I heard that. There's lots of what do they call them? Petroglyphs in Pennsylvania. But some of them are submerged in the Susquehanna River because like it's been, dammed and all that. But like there's one spot when like the water has to be low enough too, but you can go out there like on a kayak. My roommate's been there already, and there's carvings in the rock. There's a couple of them around here. There's one called like Indian God Rock or something, and it's massive. But it makes me wonder
what you can find right around in your own town.
Yeah, and that makes me wonder. Like, I'm sure there's other reasons for damming up waterways and stuff to do that, to hide.
Oh
stuff.
yeah, they in northern Indiana there where I was living before I went on walkabout, Stark County. They keep that place very low population. Like they've had offers to build all kinds of stuff there, and expand and get bigger. And the people that run these towns are like, nope. But there's the 10-mile road, it's called, Kankakee Fish and Wildlife Area. They took the Kankakee River back in like 1907 and they straightened it for like ever. 3/4 of the state of Indiana, they took a river and just made it perfectly straight. And then they dredged out Stark County. It was actually like one giant lake from one corner of the county to the other. They put in over 20,000 miles of ditches and made a bunch of fields and roads and crap like that and turned it all into these channels to channel this water. And there's these power lines that run out to the middle of this game preserve, they call it. And they just run into the ground. It's got 3 transformers on it, right on that last pole, and then the wires just run right into the ground. And I've asked so many people about that out there, and I don't get any answers except for one person said there's some water pumps down there or something like that. And horse shit is what I thought. But yeah, they hide stuff. They really do. And it's almost like they keep stuff buried, almost. Like that one place in Turkey, Göbekli Tepe. They said that was not an accident. That place was packed with sand. Like there's places where sand should not have gotten. Like it was filled with sand to hide it, pretty much. With preserve it without destroying it.
I was about to say hide it or preserve it.
Yeah, but just to make it to where you couldn't see it anymore. It's crazy. But yeah, also preserve it.
Right up here in the mountains for me is Cold Springs. And same thing, there's a railroad bed up there, and I've always gone up there like my whole life to ride bike and hike and stuff. It crosses the Appalachian Trail too, so there's a whole lot of there's actually a spot where there's an old cemetery still, and some of the stones are there, and some of them are like people that came over from England, and one of them's like a small child. But but what I could never computed with me was that this place, Cold Springs, they said was like some kind of resort. And I'm trying to think why in 1850, who was going to visit a resort? You know what I mean? I don't know. When I've always thought 1850, I thought everybody was like farming and shit. But I guess people were taking a train to a resort. I don't really get it. But there's all kinds of like old foundations and stuff in the ground there. It's pretty interesting.
No, I suspect there was, elite even then that had, fuck you money.
Yeah. This was just something I came across once. When you go on like Gallica and just kind of go through typing in random, because that's a weird site to navigate. I think you can't ever quite search for, I don't know, but
Gallica. What kind of
Gallica? It's like Martin Leakey uses it, and Campbell and stuff, where you can find old maps and old books and stuff like that on there.
Right.
But I don't know. It seems like the search terms are weird. But I came across a thing about, I'm going to forget the name now. I think it's Mesa Verde. It's one of those places where there's like cliff dwellings, like under their, like there's an overhang and then there's buildings kind of underneath.
Mesa Verde is in Colorado.
I think so. Yeah, that should be the one. That it was like in the beginning of the book, there was a letter from the guy, whoever was like the explorer, back to the Royal Society or whatever, with the red stamp and stuff that they always, but I couldn't figure out if it was my sort of conspiratorial brain twisting around the words, or if like it was actually saying what I thought it said. But it made it seem like he was saying this place is ready to be presented to the public, to give them a certain, like they made sure to go in and set it up a certain way so that people got a certain impression of it. It's really bizarre because like there's all kinds of rocks and stuff that are piled up that you can tell it's just rubble that they made into a wall. And
right.
I got to dig that stuff up again. But
yeah, that's crazy. And see,
it is Mesa Verde.
I wonder about the place in Vicksburg too. I wonder how much of that they've changed and altered, because it's a huge part.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just think of
another Stonehenge.
Remember those monoliths that were found by some artist? Now, surely there was got to be some people now going out and burying the future history for others to discover, for them to shape and mold the narrative.
I never even thought about that. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm going to bury my history book for someone to find.
Something I was talking about with somebody on a chat earlier was that seeing how quickly life changed over the last year. And I mean, it wasn't a year, it was like a week, or even a few days.
Yeah, it was super.
Who the hell knows how much everything has been changed, if that's all it takes to, completely change how we live.
Fucking voters.
I love these lawns.
It's weird that this don't work.
All right.
Yeah, this is a great time.
It is. I'm about ready to take the headphones off because it's been not 3 hours, but it's been a wonderful, wonderful Friday night.
Wow,
and
it has
I've
been.
really enjoyed it. I know.
Well, damn it. Okay. Well, I'll go with TJ until you tell me different. Friend, dude, I got so wrapped up in this, I completely lost track of chat. So my apologies to chat. You guys know I'm usually in there cutting it up with you, chopping it up. So my apologies. I got in there when I could, but dude, definitely want to hang out, talk music. We don't have to do it live. We can do it off the air, just not to bore everybody to death. Because I definitely want to learn some of them banjo chops, dude. That's where I fail. That's where I fail for sure. Thank you for coming, hanging out, and sharing.
Yeah,
and
this was fun, man.
Do it again
No,
as soon as you can.
Yeah, I appreciate being here, and especially, I mean, with you guys anyway that I watch and appreciate your ideas and stuff, and also the other people who I know have been on this show. Like I was saying to Zach, how I was invited on before, a month ago now, and I said, like, I was telling Zach, sometimes when you and Lucas or Cammy, I don't even know what the hell you guys are talking about. So like, what the hell am I going to come talk to you guys about?
Welcome to my world.
But no, it's been great, man.
I'm just holding on sometimes, just like, oh my God, these guys are breaking my brain. Yep.
But we can talk about music and the beauty in music and the way it does it, and listening to it and doing that. I mean, we can go in all different directions. That's what's cool about Iron Realm. It's I love the music. I love the music. The music the music rocks and rolls. So yeah.
Well, like we were telling, who did we tell that Wednesday? We were talking to. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe it's even further back, but we were saying that's our. We love it when someone wants to show up with a big presentation and give us all kind of details, and anytime anyone wants to bring that, they're more than welcome. We will love it. We've done a few ourselves, but yeah, it's really more about the people and getting to know people. We've been having this flat Earth meetup here on this channel for not this channel, but our realm for quite a while now. And while we haven't, Josh and I especially, haven't been able to make it to any, let alone all of all the events, being here and meeting you guys and getting to know you guys is really, that's really what it is. And man, like I said, the conversation and the energy exchange, and thank you, truly, thank you.
Yeah, connecting with flat earthers is awesome, and connecting with musicians is awesome. But if you can get flat earth musicians, like that's tops, man.
Yeah, you can make some wild stuff happen when you start mixing these people together.
Yeah, I think there'd be an awesome collaboration in the not too distant future.
Even I was talking to what's his name? Is his name Travis? A Plain Truth. So this was funny too. Like I knew he had his phone there. I didn't realize he was streaming, right? But like we were bullshitting and at Solar Return, and it was just funny. I didn't realize until halfway through that he was like streaming the whole thing. But he was talking about that, like he writes songs, but doesn't really sing or whatever. And I was
I feel terrible because he was trying to get me to sing a song that he had rewritten some lyrics for, and I just didn't feel like I haven't been out doing anything, let alone before all the craziness. But even once I started hanging out and doing this gig on Friday nights, that's pretty much where I am. So yeah, I haven't done any singing of any extensive. My buddy called me the other week and was like, "Hey man, we're going to be starting to do it back at this new place. Come hang out." And I'm like, "Oh, not just getting the rust off. I'd have to blow the sandblast the pipes and the whole nine."
Yeah, and like I said, I struggle being confident. Like it would be hard for me to imagine going to somebody and be like, "Hey, let me do a song for you about this." Like I would not be comfortable doing that at all. But I mean, I don't know. I will try by all means.
We'll make it happen. I'm like Josh. I'll say something good in the future musically here. We've got just too many good minds that are looking to make this happen. So
I put a link in the chat. This is my most recent song, but there's like a veiled sort of flat earth thing in there. I guess I won't say it because it'll be cool to just let it ride. But I think that, and again, I'm not knocking what people do, but I think we should start going at it more covertly. That if you can come up with some thoughtful lyrics that get stuck in people's head, and then later on they start being like, "Wait, what exactly is this talking about?" Because I don't know. If you're making music that's overtly like flat Earth or this or that, that's only appealing to those people.
Yeah, get them humming something and kind of singing it, but they don't even know what the words are.
Yeah, the same way it's used against us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, check that out, please.
Yeah, I need a xylophone. We need a nice little 3-tone xylophone signal for IRM.
Oh man, check this out. Wait.
You want to play this on the way out? We can, Josh.
Surely.
What?
Beautiful.
There you go.
Well, so it's there. There was actually this one I had for you, Walter.
Go.
Do it. Love y'all.
Good night, everyone.
Fucking metal.